This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV in association.
Stop this off. I'm trying to say, stop, Coogs. I'm trying to just chill. Will you piss off? Please, respect the man's privacy, Coogan.
Tony,
Coogan,
I'll ask you one question.
What are you going to ask me, Coogs?
Just one question.
What is it? No, because you know the one question will lead to 20 answers.
Just one question.
No, but it's not going to be one question. It's going to be loads. Respect the man's privacy. I've come to the boxing to support my friend. Put the camera away, man. I feel like you're the police.
One question.
Yes, Your Honour.
Are you gonna for the first time ever knock back an interview?
It's not that I'm saying that. What are you saying that for?
No, I'm just. Is this the first time in like 9 years? 9 years. Are you going to knock back an interview?
I'm not knocking it back, Cooks. I'm just asking for some privacy. I don't want to be on camera or television.
You're at a public event.
I know. I'm
not on your doorstep.
I know, but you know, I've stayed away from everything recently. People think I've disappeared. Well, I kind of have. I'm trying to just. I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the camera now. I'm gonna label it. Belly refuses IFL.
I haven't refused, Cooks.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to the 349th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host Steve Wellings, and joining me on the call we have Andy Patterson and Ozzy Smith. A very good evening, welcome to everybody listening, whatever point of the week you're joining us. Sundays on Mixlr, Mondays on YouTube, Soundcloud or iTunes, wherever you are. Welcome. Chatbox, a few people knocking about there. See Gerwin, see Matt Russell, Take Ames as well is in there. Welcome, gentlemen. We'll be summarising a fantastic domestic rumble between Kash Farouk and Lee McGregor. That was not without its controversy. Just talking off air there, guys. We'll get stuck into that soon. Looking ahead to Wilder versus Ortiz 2 without any American representation. Gabe's sick, Dave's dead, no idea what's happened to Donny. Questions, comments, guests, belly of the weeks and plenty more. So stick with us. Andy, first of all, over to you. Kash Farouk versus Lee McGregor, Emirates Arena. I had it 115, 112 to Kash Farouk. I just felt he was cuter at times. I felt his movement was better. He was making McGregor miss. A lot of huff and puff from McGregor. A lot of holding and physical work. But the quality seemed like it was coming from Farouk for me. I can't really make an argument for Lee McGregor winning, although two of the judges did. He's the main man, comes out with the British and Commonwealth title. First of all, you were there last night, Andy. Everything okay? No trouble in the crowd or anything?
Be safe.
Well, just another typical night in Glasgow, mate, with a few beers and stuff. You know how it goes. You know, some bodies start getting mobbed about the place, and the cops have got to come in with right gear and that. It was all good. Other than that, it was good atmosphere with the main event and stuff. Poor decision in the end. Quality fight. Kash Farouk, absolutely gutted, I would imagine. Gave it his all, man. I mean, if that kid just had a wee bit extra punching power and stuff like that, he would have made a hell of a lot of big difference, I think. Especially when you look at those scorecards and stuff, you know, a couple of them are very tight, one's kind of way too wide for McGregor. I had the same scorecard as you, mate, 150, 112 on second review. It's just one of the fights and stuff, like, because of the situation ringside and stuff, with the kind of carry on and that people are up in the chairs, just can't see what's going on really, kind of fully. So, looking back, McGregor did well, kind of, latter half of the fight, kind of like pushing it on, but it was just all Kash for me. The kind of middle half of that fight, could have swept the first four as well. Some people had it kind of like maybe two apiece after four, but just the quality, just the guy just lives for that stuff. Like just the improvement in him constantly, upper body movement, the head movement. Just defensively cute, but coming forward, being aggressive at the same time and stuff. He could easily be a what's the word I'm looking for actually? He could be a kind of negative fighter with his kind of skill set. He could be bobbing, weaving, jab, then kind of come out of distance. Just he didn't even bother committing. Last night, he just showed what he's all about. Stepped in there, committed. Gave McGregor numerous problems. Who to me was kind of showing really signs that he was struggling with the weight. Gassing round about, I wouldn't say gas, but he was struggling with the pace at round about the 7th round. I thought had a kind of good 8th. I did see someone mention that, and obviously being there, people were moaning like fuck about the point deduction. To me, that point deduction was absolutely called for, because Vic was in his ear constantly through that fight. There was at least 3 or 4 visible warnings you could see on the broadcast. Just basically cut out the holding, and basically kind of early on in the fight and stuff like that, he was just kind of like, wee motions, kind of stop holding in there and stuff like that, kind of like then kind of breaking it up and stuff. So the point deduction was absolutely justified. In the end, wrong decision. And it just kind of shoots itself in the foot at the end of the day as well. McGregor's come out since then and stuff, says that he's won a European title fight next, and if he wins that, it's going to be a rematch, which would be the least he could do, I suppose, at this point. But as I say, Cash can definitely feel absolutely hard done by, but I'm just plaudits to both guys for taking the fight at this point. They could easily kind of bypass it, and that's probably a kind of small consolation to Cash in that as well. McGregor's got his belt this morning and stuff, but at least Cash has got the outright belt. But it was, to me, it was a great fight, wrong ending, and it's just great to see two guys roughly run about maybe the early half of their primes put it on the line and stuff, and they really did put it on the line. That wasn't just basically kind of stepping back and just throwing a couple of punches. They went to war there at times there last night. McGregor tried to use his physicality, pushing him off. Cash coming back, making a left hooks, bobbing and weaving. There was a tight. I remember one punch actually. It was absolute quality by Cash actually. I think he kind of got past McGregor's jab, and he threw a right hand right down the pipe, and he was standing right in centre. But as he did so, McGregor threw the same punch, the kind of right hand, but he got his right hand home early, Cash, and he kind of rolled it underneath. Quality shot. It was absolutely brilliant. But hopefully he gets a promoter as well off the back of this, because St. Oz and stuff like that, maybe Frank Ward might be interested, maybe kind of get a Paul Butler fight. There is opportunities, and maybe Kalya Fight comes up in that as well. So there is options there for him if he can just get a wee deal somewhere. But he's a quality fighter, and he will be disheartened and stuff like that. But he showed there last night. Maybe physicality might be a wee issue and stuff like that. But other than that, he's an absolute quality boxer, and he will definitely come again, in my opinion.
MB there, Andy says in the chat, I had Farouk by a round, so I've no problem with McGregor winning, just not by 3 rounds with a point off as well. That was what confused me. I wasn't the greatest at maths at school, but I'm not sure how they managed to get it to McGregor by 3 points. I haven't seen the scorecards or anything, given that he had the point taken off. It did seem a bit odd.
Scorecards?
Yeah, the way they had McGregor winning... I had Farouk winning 115, 112, but didn't they have McGregor winning 115? How did they get to that conclusion?
Well, this is what I was thinking actually. I don't know if I said to you in the chat or not, if I said to someone else stuff. Is it possible to maybe just put their own scorecard into the wrong person? We had that situation, remember, a couple of years back in a Matchroom card. Remember the guy
Ryan Bennett against Lee Haskins?
That's it. Remember that situation and stuff? Was it maybe something like that? But obviously, a situation that would have come to light by now, because that would basically mean that Cash has had a point deducted or a knockdown, or he's been given a 9-9 round somewhere.
Yeah, unless they a
10-8 round.
Yeah, unless they had 9-9, like you say, the 10-9 to McGregor, winning the round that he had the point deducted in, so then the point comes off him to make it 9-9. I'm wondering where it came in.
Yeah, but even then, I would still think Cash would need to lose another point, surely. 115, like 112 would suggest a point's been deducted somewhere, or like a knockdown somewhere. At the end of the day as well, you and I both had it 115, 112 to Cash. I think Ozzy had it maybe a round slightly wider than that, but I think his would be, what was yours, 116, 111?
I had it 116, 112.
112.
Yeah.
Right. I really don't know how they come to that far.
If we're going on 10-9s, right, and one of the judges has had McGregor winning 115, 113, but in round 10, when McGregor had the point deducted, they've had McGregor winning 10-9, but then because the point's deducted, they've deducted a point off McGregor, not Farouk. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how.
I mean, obviously, as I suggested, if it's maybe a mistaken identity, surely the case would have come to head by now, but I don't know. There's no way you could see 115, 112 to McGregor.
The other thing about that card is the one that was in favour of Farouk, which was John Latham at 114, 113. That's essentially the point deduction that's decided that. So had they not taken a point off McGregor, he would have scored that a draw. So basically, there was only Latham who had Farouk winning the fight, and that was via the point deduction. That's it. So it's it's quite concerning, in my opinion, that that basically nobody felt Kash Farouk had to fight. I haven't seen anybody score this fight to McGregor, but the two judges and a couple of others close to the camp of McGregor. Everybody else has scored it, whether it be a point, 2 points, 3 or 4 points to Kash Farouk. And he can certainly feel hard done by. When it was announced as a split decision, I felt that Farouk was going to get it anyway. But no, it was very disappointing. And what was an excellent fight for me is yet again overshadowed by controversial judges' scorecards.
I was going to ask, actually, I mean, because that judges only gave Kash 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Which rounds is he watching that he's clearly convinced that he's gave Kash? He can't even find another 8. Sorry, another 4. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I felt Farouk dominated early on. I gave McGregor the opener, which I thought was a really tight round as well, and not a lot happened. But then from rounds 2 to 6, I gave to Farouk because I thought he cruised it. I thought he made McGregor miss. McGregor was winging big shots in. Farouk was doing the better work. His upper body movement was outstanding. He was landing the cleaner shots, and I thought this is his fight to lose. So I just don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Whether they were obviously it was quite a raucous atmosphere. Were they swayed by that potentially? It felt like McGregor certainly had the bulk of the tickets and support there. Maybe
cuts.
That was the cuts as well. Which I think a couple were caused by head clashes and things like that.
Well, just on that, mate, I know for a fact because I seen Vic actually point out to the commissioner ringside that with the first one he actually pointed out it was definitely a punch that caused it. He made the motion with his hand basically.
No, fair dues, fair. If that's made clear at the time, that's all you can ask for.
Good stuff, Ozzy. Thanks very much. Delighted to say we have our first guest of the evening on the call. It's Alex Steedman. How are you, Alex?
Not bad, Steve. How are you, pal?
I'm doing very well, thank you. We're just in the middle of talking about Farouk versus McGregor in Glasgow. Before we discuss the fight itself, the atmosphere, you were there, looked amazing.
It was fantastic. It had a bit of everything, didn't it? I think there was... Lee McGregor was telling me that the day before and again on the morning, I spoke to him in the morning of the fight yesterday morning, he was telling me that there was close to 1,000 coming down from Edinburgh across the M8, 6-7 coach loads and many on the train and buses. So it was a fantastic atmosphere, it really was, and it was a terrific fight to boot.
Absolutely. I mean, I felt that Farouk was a little bit cuter with his work, especially to the body, but McGregor's brute force approach in the second half of the fight just won it for him. I mean, what were your lasting impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt it was a fight of two halves. And I think the first half was pretty tight, wasn't it? I mean, there's probably a cross-section of views on how that went. You could have had it 2-2 after 4. I thought McGregor maybe just nicked the first. And then Farouk's sort of upper body movement throughout the first half of the fight I thought was just terrific. He's such a good little fighter. I saw him a year ago in the same arena. It was the first time I'd seen him live. And there's only been 2 or 3 fighters that I've seen live that I've had to step back and go, wow, that guy's much better than I thought he was. And from just the tape and the footage that I've seen. So I'm glad that people got a chance to see that last night, because he's kind of been Scotland's best kept secret, but the secret's out the bag. I thought he definitely won the first half of the fight, and I think you can argue about how wide he won that. I think Barry Jones, my co-commentator, I think he had it around 6-2 after 8. I would have had it maybe 5-3 in Farouk's favour. But McGregor, despite the fact he looked pretty tight on the scales, and despite the fact there had been sort of fears about that, he was so strong down the stretch, and that's what got him into the fight. And in some people's eyes, that allowed him to nick it. I thought, on balance, the cleaner shots that Farouk landed in the first half, and enough work down the stretch, I thought he just edged it, particularly with that point taken off.
I agree with you. I thought Farouk won. You mentioned about some people there. I thought it was quite difficult the next day to find a lot of people who really had McGregor winning. The general consensus seemed to be it was a Farouk victory, but it's a strange one because I thought Farouk was definitely the winner, but at the same time it was such a close fight. It was an odd one.
Definitely. I mean, had it been sort of 8-4 and a bit wider to Farouk, I I wouldn't have had a massive scream up about that, to be honest. I mean, he put so much into it. They both did, in truth. I mean, it was one of those fights that just has you shaking your head. And, you know, you've seen it yourself, Stephen, from ringside. You've followed the sport for many, many years. But when you see it again up close, time and time again, or watching at home on the stream of the telly, what those guys put into this game is just awe-inspiring. It really is. And it was the same again last night. You really got a sense of how much it meant to them, how good they are, and the backstory of their friends and family and where they've come from. It just had a bit of everything. It really was a phenomenal fight.
So do we think now both guys will go their separate ways and then hopefully reconvene for a rematch at some point?
Yeah, do you know what? I think the interesting thing about that as a question is McGregor. And he's such an honest kid. He is so honest. I know when it comes to opposing fans, I think he gets their hackle up because he's not afraid to stand his ground. He's a fighter through and through, and he'll speak his mind. But he's so honest. And do you know what? I just knowing him a little bit and speaking to him, I sense he wouldn't be happy with just moving on. Some people have had fights and they'll take the win and do you know what, I've done that, I don't need to do it again. I don't sense Lee McGregor is that kind of guy. Now, maybe the people around him, MTK or whoever, they might want to let that brew a little bit. But I said in commentary, and I asked McGregor at the end of the fight as well, that this, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the start of a trilogy over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years or whatever. But I just think McGregor wouldn't be happy moving on and saying, I got the British title, I've beaten that guy, I don't need any of him again. I don't think he's that kind of character.
And as for Farouk, I mean, I know it's a cliche, there's no loser in a fight like that, but it's hard to see Farouk's stock really dropping.
He's been Scotland's best kept secret, and he wowed me when I saw him. I think it was last November when I saw him at the Emirates. It was against Ian Butcher, actually. I commentated on that fight, and he glided across the ring, and it was everything that Butcher could do to stay in that fight. Everything, every little inch of his experience and wiles and technique and talent, every little bit of it, just to stop himself getting knocked out. That's how good Farouk was that night. So I got a little glimpse of that. So I'm glad that people got to see how good he is. He's only going to get better. The interesting thing is how he reacts to it, because, you know, whereas McGregor's got a partner and he's got a little girl now as well, he's got other things. Farouk's interest is boxing and only boxing, and second is boxing, and third is boxing. No girlfriend, he's not interested in that. All he wants is boxing. So I suspect he'll come back stronger than ever, and he'll probably be buoyed by an element of public reaction in his favour. And
you mentioned briefly there about Scottish boxing. We talked about Alex Arthur, Willie Limond in the build-up. Hopefully some positive wider implications for Scottish boxing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Emirates Arena, to be honest, in retrospect, and I'm speaking to a few of the people close to MTK in the business, they could have sold that over twice over in the end, and they were trying to get extra seats in as it was. So they could have been a bigger fight than it was. Such was the clamour. And, you know, it's always been like that in Scotland. When you get a good fight or you get a good fight, people will come out. And you touched on before about the fact there's no loser, and that sounds a bit hackneyed, but it's absolutely true. And I kept banging on and likening this to the Arthur Limond fight in 2003. You know, Arthur was the winner, he went on, but Willie Limond still came back. He won a British title belatedly, won 2 Commonwealth titles in 2 different ways, and it's almost identical to Groves against De Gale, isn't it? In that, you know, De Gale came back and won a world title, and of course Groves did belatedly as well. So I think it was that kind of fight. Now there is an asterisk. There's a Stedo asterisk and italics next to all of that, and that is, as much as I have to heap praise on both of them in terms of talent and technique and all that they put in, and the stages of their career. Let's not forget, we're talking about guys who are 22 and 23. I mean, that's unbelievable, really, given we're talking about a fight of this stature north of the border. But they're very, very young. There's so far to go. But the asterisk is this, and the perspective is this. There's a guy in that division who's from another planet. And as good as they are, and as much as they aspire to get to that sort of level, there's a guy up there who's on another planet.
Absolutely. Just to remind our listeners, we have Alex Steedman on the call. Over on Twitter, find him at Alex Steedman. We thank him for his time. Just a couple more questions for you, Alex. So, you were a busy guy over the weekend. Glasgow one night, Liverpool the other. Rocky Fielding, Martin Murray, Terry Flanagan. Who were the standouts at the Liverpool show?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you'd have stopped the tape after 4 or 5 rounds with Flanagan, you'd have said, wow, Flanagan's back to his best. He was the sort of verve, he was up on his toes, the stuff that we saw very early on against the likes of Magdaleno, and injury has kind of robbed him of, I think, the ability to train in the way that he needs to train as a big, strong lightweight. More importantly, I think that's handicapped him essentially. First 4 or 5 rounds, I thought he was terrific. In the end, he couldn't quite sustain it, whether it was because he put so much into it, or I think Duran was just really, really tough. So I like the fact that Flanagan looks like he's getting back there, and he's working his way down to 135 as well. Murray is just a case of what fight is it, isn't it? I mean, I personally, I'd love to see him, and I mentioned this in comms, I'd love to see him against Liam Williams. I think that's a natural fight for the pair of them, and I think it'd be a good fight as well. And Rocky Fielding, that's a sure real punch, isn't it? To announce yourself after nearly a year off the track. So there's some good fights for all of them. Some good fights.
A couple of quick fire ones for you, Alex. Wilder versus Ortiz 2 next week. How do you see that one going?
Do you know what? I think Ortiz should have won the first fight. What age is he now, Ortiz? Is he in his 50s or 60s? I'm not sure.
I think he's about 68.
Exactly. And I think really the first fight, age was the difference between the two of them, because had he been younger, he would have closed the show, and had Wilder not had youth on his side, he wouldn't have been able to come back. And that was the difference back then. He can only have got better in Wilder's favour, and he might just get the job done earlier this time. But listen, look what's happened to AJ. Look at the fight that Valin gave Fury as well. So you never quite know with the big guys, but really it should be about age and time.
Talking of big heavyweight rematches, you brought me perfectly on to the final one, AJ versus Ruiz 2 in December. How do you see that one playing out?
It's an absolute perplexing headache, this fight. It really is, because I'm not after telling it, but I'd always said to my friends who were sort of casual boxing fans, who say, oh God, this AJ's mustard. I've been saying it for 3, 4, 5 years that he's kind of had the red carpet treatment, and the Red Sea's opened up for him in terms of his career. There's no way, after he just scraped past Dillian White, that had Charles Martin not fortuitously become world champion, they were looking, I think his team were looking to go back to British and domestic level. And only because the heavyweight landscape changed, with Fury out of the picture, Klitschko out of the picture, suddenly a guy like Martin, who at the time had no right to be a heavyweight champion of the world, only because of that did the landscape change and the seas opened up for AJ. And he's taken his opportunity, but he's been learning on the job, and I think belatedly he got found out. Now, the caveat with that is that I think there was a whole lot of things going on, both in front and behind the scenes, leading up to Madison Square Garden. Now, I do think it was a perfect storm for Ruiz. There's no doubt he's talented. Maybe he's just got the size and hand speed that's always going to give Joshua problems. That's quite possible. But I do think it was a perfect storm as well. You know, this chubby guy, I think when they sized up against each other during fight week as well, I think AJ thought, well, this is an absolute blowover. I think the media commitments took the toll. I think the fighting away from home, I think the travelling, I think everything just took its toll. Now, it may just be that Ruiz has got his number, and I'm perfectly willing to accept anyone who says that's the case. But I think Joshua's going to be better too, and it is a bit of a headache. I've got to be honest with you, Steve. I've no idea how this is going to pan out. What I would say is Joshua a 3-zone shot or thereabouts, given what happened before? I don't think so, but I'd be happy to be proved wrong.
Absolutely intriguing fight. At Alex Steedman over on Twitter, everybody. Top commentator, top fella. Pleasure as always, Alex. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Steve.
All the best now. Cheerio. Alex Steedman there, one of the good guys. Yeah, I've been in his company a few times. He's a good laugh, tells some very good stories, and a good commentator.
Would love that fight he called there, by the way. Would love that Williams-Murray fight just as he called it there. It sounds like a really good fight at this point.
Absolutely. Andy getting stuck in there on episode 349. Rapping Rob Kelly's joined us on the call. Before we get him stuck in, Andy, you were going to give us a very quick lowdown of the undercard. What was the best of the rest going on last night?
Well, wasn't it, to be honest, I was disappointed there wasn't any stoppages. I like to go to fights, see some stoppages on the undercard and that. Tommy Philbin raging because his fight was 8 rounds against Daryl Sharp that ended up getting put down to 6. Paddy Donovan, he looked pretty decent. I think it was his second fight against Danny Mendoza, but leave his chin open a wee bit actually, so I suppose Andy Lee will get that sorted out. Who else? Pierce O'Leary, good hands. Craig Morgan, first one in the card actually, but Tellez was tough, durable. I think he's been doing the kind of British circuit for a wee bit now actually as well, so no surprise that went the distance. And Kieran Smith against the Italian, I think it was Bellavacqua he was pronounced, or whatever it was. The Italian was, I don't know how much you saw it, I think it was like only 3 or 4 rounds of the fight was shown on TV and that, but the Italian came and gave a good go at it and stuff, and didn't give Smith a kind of easy time at who, I would probably say at times was getting me kind of frustrated in that, because obviously when he would lead in, the Italian would kind of get him with the head and that, he was letting shots go, so Smith would get me kind of frustrated. Whatever this belt that he's got, this WBC trinket he's got, silver international I think it was, at 154, I don't know if it's going to give him some sort of ranking and stuff, but he's talking about wanting big fights, decent money fights and that next, so I really don't know where he's going to go with it and that, but I think he kind of needs more fights like that, to be honest with you, just kind of more kind of learning fights.
Bevilacqua couldn't punch, could he, Andy? That was the problem. I don't think Bevilacqua.
That as well. As I say, he was tough and game enough, I suppose. That's all you can probably say in that. But to be honest, Smith I think just needs a bit kind of more seasoning against guys like that, for example, and then kind of steadily go up to kind of European level, because he's picked up this belt. And I hope he doesn't kind of use it to kind of bypass that type of level. I would like to see him kind of go British, maybe European and stuff, because you then know if you're successful at that level, you're kind of then maybe knowing that you're ready for a step up and stuff. But that's the first time I've seen that Italian, and he did give him some problems and stuff, and it was game, as I says. So other than that, they were kind of struggling with the time frame, I thought, actually, because hence the reason why the Philbin fight got dropped for 8 to 6 rounds and stuff. So all in all, it was a decent show in that, but disappointing for the main event, I suppose. In fact, it definitely was.
Absolutely. Rapping Rob Kelly is on the call with us. How you sounding, Roberto?
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
1 2. Testicles 1 2 3. He's there. Rapping Rob Kelly. Here, Rob, just before you go on about Farouk against McGregor, Andy was mentioning Paddy Donovan there. I watched his debut, was keen on watching him. I thought he was slick and he showed the moves, but Andy picked up on something that I also noticed. His head's like a big stick. It's sort of been standing in front of the guy. Maybe something needs to be worked on.
The hands are a wee bit low as well. I think he doesn't get the hands back quick enough when he throws his punches. That's just...
Yeah, he has that low. He has that style. He was using that in the amateurs. Highly touted, this guy, amateur. He's with Top Rank too, and they were clamouring to sign him. It's crazy how Andy ended up managing him. I think he just, from what I heard, he just...
he trains him, mate. He trains him as well, for what I saw last time.
Trains him and manages him. He trains and manages... he trains him and Jason Quigley now. So Jason Quigley's gone to him as well. I don't know if he's managing him or not, but highly touted amateur. I think he has that style. Like, I think he'll transition over to the pros. He's got the talent, but like you say, I want to fucking get your chin tucked in, like, or covered up, because that can be exposed as you go down the pro route. Like, so I'm interested to see that it's not too many fellas coming out of the amateurs in Ireland get a Top Rank contract off the bat. So I'd be interested to see how he progresses. There was a points win last night, wasn't it?
It was a points win. He dropped the guy in one of the rounds as well. What do you think about Andy Lee's attire? I like that surgical shirt he was wearing.
And he's always been a bit of a down with the fashion, actually. He's I remember being on a video shoot with him about 10 years ago, like, and he's definitely a stylish guy for sure. But yeah, in terms of Farouk and McGregor, man, I think you've probably covered, by the time I jumped on, you've probably already covered it. Like, but what's the first of all, Victor Lachlan was at it, like, wasn't he? What the fuck? He was at it, like, Cash Farouk and Liam McGregor were kind of holding each other as much, and then he docked a point off McGregor, and then McGregor wins one card. What did he win it by? 3-4 rounds?
We can't work the maths out, Rob. We can't work the mathematics out. Help us.
Could not see that. I thought McGregor gave a good account of himself in the second half of the fight. He definitely tried to come back into it and never tried to stop winning. And it was a cracking fight. And we should have been talking about it being a close, cracking fight with a clear winner, which was Farouk. But it wasn't. Shout out to my man D2, actually. He told me to stick it on. I wasn't watching the boxing last night. I'd forgotten about that fight. And then he said to me, this is a cracking scrap. So I threw it on. And then I watched it back just to make sure that I didn't miss any of the earlier rounds. It looked like Farouk was on top. He cut badly, man. Those two cuts were the one over the eye was the right slice, like, so he need time off. But hopefully he'll rebuild and he'll come back. Definitely on that performance. Although he's lost everything and he should be the rightful winner in that scenario, he'll be back. But I'd watch that again. Like, I definitely watch that again. But I can't make an argument for as good as the performance as McGregor put up. I can't make an argument for him winning it, and I definitely cannot see that score of 4 rounds. 4 rounds, fucking hell, man! Like, it's just Victor Loughlin's poison as well, isn't he? He's not a great ref, like, he's not good. Like,
well, I was a bit surprised, Rob, that he got the gig. I thought they would have brought one of the English boys up, although they might have got dogs abuse. That's the only thing. But to be honest with you, I'm going to disagree with you, rapping Rob Kelly. I thought that McGregor was initiating most of the holding, to be honest.
He was and he wasn't.
He was definitely getting warned constantly.
But when he pushed him through the ring, Farouk had him around the neck, like.
That's true.
He had him in a headlock and he pushed him around through the ring, and then he took, then he docks the point from McGregor. But Loughlin has form anyway, doesn't he? Like, remember that night of Josh Taylor, Ryan Martin? A lot of people said he stopped the fight prematurely, and he had a stinker on the cards on one of the fights, one of the domestic fights on that night as well.
Was that Darryl Williams against Zach?
Can't remember.
Parker,
it was a cracking British fight, wasn't it? And he gave the wrong decision that night. So I don't know, but don't want to, the referee was a bit player in the fight. It was a great fight. I like Farouk's style, man. He's a small little guy. He's given up so much size in the ring last night as well, and he's just going to the body. I thought McGregor missed the opportunity to go to Farouk's body, because the first half of the fight he couldn't seem to tag him cleanly, and he was standing right in front of him. So instead of going downstairs or maybe going around, he longer arms, whipping the shots around to the back, trying to work the body that way, but didn't really seem to throw any body shots last night. Was head hunting a lot. So the two of them are young, the two of them will learn from it. Great fight to be in for the two of them under the lights. But it looks at the coverage, there was a couple of fights outside the ring as well. I don't know how the judges had them.
Was the guru there?
Someone fucking smashed fucking.
Well, if the guru was there, all bets are off, I think. I'd tell, like, but yeah, no, look, just a poor decision. Not really much more I can say about it. A poor decision, great fight, but a bad decision. Like,
I've never met a fucking wank that can fight me.
Andy, I was going to ask you a question, but it seems to have slipped my mind now, so I suppose we shall move on. Ozzy, don't know if you got to see anything of the card over on Channel 5. Alex Dilmagani against Francisco Fonseca ended up in a draw. I thought Fonseca had probably done enough from what I saw. I was only watching it from about halfway onwards, and he seemed to be doing all the work, although Dilmagani was tired, he was cut. I mean, it was a step up for him at the end. They changed the narrative a little bit, saying, it's great experience. He hasn't had many fights and all this, and I agree with that. But I think coming in, they probably expected him to do enough.
Correct. I think this guy was picked so Dilmagani could win, but without scoring it like I did the Farouk fight, I would have shaded Fonseca. I felt he just did enough. However, I'm not gonna cry about a draw because it was very close. It was a big step up for Dilmagani, who's not really fought anybody, to be honest, to get to his 19-1 record. And at least, Fonseca, whilst he didn't beat Gervonta Davis and Tevin Farmer, he's had the experience of being in with them, and he took rounds off Farmer as well. So he's clearly not an idiot and no mug. But I enjoyed it. Some people calling it fight of the year. I wouldn't go as far as that, but it was very enjoyable, and fair play to Big Mick Hennessy as well, who just keeps on going, and yeah, he put a decent main event on for a couple of people that in reality I mean, it's quite amusing to see Dil Magani and Fonseca headline a headliner card on Channel 5. But no, it was great. Dil Magani, quick hands, fought in bursts at times as well. And looks talented, looks a victim of basically just being severely inactive and, just lack of ring time. And there's certainly a fighter there, and I think he could ruffle a few feathers domestically in the UK as well. I think this onus of, rushing to world level just needs to be put on the back burner at the moment. But the guy's talented. I wouldn't be shocked to see a rematch either. I think it would be quite easy to make. I don't see people clambering to fight either Dil Magani or Fonseca, so it makes sense to do the immediate rematch. If there's a bit of controversy, I think I've seen arguments for all three results, so why not? I saw a bits of the undercard as well. I watched that on the Hennessy YouTube channel. Nothing really to shout home about. Big Mick, Michael Hennessy Jr., Big Mick's son.
Little Mick.
Well, yeah, and he is little compared to Big Mick. But he defeated Richard Baba on points. He's okay. He just doesn't have any power, so he can't keep anybody off him. But he strikes me as a person who's always going to be in, relatively interesting fights because he lets his hands go, but he just doesn't make a dent on anybody. Couple of other prospects and things like that. I think he linked up with Mo Pryor to help pad out this undercard. I didn't see John Joe Nevin against Freddie Fonseca because I was watching the Farouk and McGregor fight, but apparently it was a relatively straightforward win for John Joe Nevin. And I
Nevin
think
boxed well, Ozzy. He boxed
well. Yeah, so I'm thinking. I think they hope that they can get some momentum behind him now because look, there's a clear talent there. He's just won one of these ranking belts with the WBA. Probably gets him a top 15 ranking straight away. And look, like we said, there's a talented fighter there. Let's use him. Also, shout out to Craig Woodruff. He's trained and looked after by friend of the pod and my mate Richie Garner. He went on the road last night and stopped the undefeated 3-0 Conor Marsden in the third round. So props to Craig Woodruff there. He's took a gamble, gone on the road, and got an excellent win in the away corner.
Well done, Craig Woodruff. We always like to see that happening. A quick word from you, Rob, then while I ring up our second guest on John Joe Nevin. I don't know if you saw the fight or not, but I think he boxed really well, showed some of his talent, and at 30 years of age now, Mick's giving him a platform, and hopefully he can push on. No more messing about now.
Well, whatever you say about Mick Hennessy, and we write him off and have a bit of a crack about him on the pod, but he's obviously a very hard-working guy, and he's able to work fighters and get them into a position from a certain spot. So if he's got John Joe on terrestrial TV and in a ranking position, you wouldn't rule him out getting an opportunity to challenge for a title. Personally, I don't want to rule out an Irish guy straight off the bat, but I think the inactivity, not all 100% John Joe's fault, but the inactivity and the circumstances behind the layoff, I think his best years are gone, obviously at 30. Now, he hasn't had some of the wear and tear, obviously, because he hasn't been in the ring, so that could extend his career for a little while. And there's no doubt in his talent. But I don't know. I think there's several factors in play there. And I heard he's talking about... Was he talking about... who was he talking? He was on the fight the other day. Was it Gervonta or Tank? One of them. I don't know. Or Tank or Shakur Stevenson. I don't know where Shakur Stevenson would fit into that. But I thought I saw his name being mentioned too. But look, he's looking for big fights, and I think we're going to see more of him now that he's back based here. And hopefully we can pull a few strings and we see what he's made of. But I wouldn't hold out too much hope for him conquering the top honours in his division.
Wellings just doing his own thing, just supposed to be...
Ozzy, sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off. I've got our next guest of the evening on, guys. Just going to talk over the top of you. Sorry about that. Asgi's on the call. How you doing, Asgi?
I'm good, my man. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Not too bad. Thanks for joining us. Keeping well, yeah?
Excellent, my friend. Excellent.
Tell me about this fight last night then, Cash Farouk against Lee McGregor. Did the right man win in your opinion?
No. I believe Cash Farouk was way ahead. He was the point deducted. But listen, take nothing away from McGregor. What a warrior. You know, this is what boxing's all about. It's about giving it everything. It's such a shame. But you should know this in boxing. When you're on someone else's promotion, someone else's home ground. Obviously, Cash Farouk's from Glasgow, but you know, it's Glasgow versus Edinburgh. In their territory, they'll look for any excuse. Part of boxing. Got to get used to it. It's not nice to see, but it is what it is. What a fight. What a fight. Brilliant.
What about a rematch then, Asgi? Some point down the line, hopefully?
It has to happen. I think with the public outcry, it has to happen. And it'll create such a great interest. And, you know, why not on the undercard of a Josh Taylor fight? What a match that'll be. It's great for boxing.
Certainly is. You do a lot of work with Ben Davis. And tell me about your work with Mohamed Rabi. How's he getting on?
Mohamed Rabi is a superstar. You know, in Morocco, he really is up there. He's a world amateur gold medalist, Olympian bronze medalist. He's now 10-0. Before that, he was 14th in the world. After this fight, he'll be up 12. So he's climbing. You know, there's something seriously special about him. And see the work Ben does with Mohamed Rabi. And Mohamed Rabi is one of them guys that does exactly as he's told. Such a lovely, lovely lad. And there's a big future, especially now signing with Top Rank. He's big with SES, which is Benny Blanco's company. He's just doing so well. Such a big future for the guy.
One of the guys in our chat, he's got a question for you, Asgi. He said, how are you working around the language barrier with Mohamed?
Well, it's pretty... See, with Ben, obviously, the working codes, and for me, we're like now and then now, I can speak a bit of broken Arabic, so we understand a bit, and Mohamed Rabi can speak a bit of English. As long as we work in coordination numbers, there's always a way. And, you know, with his pedigree, being an Olympian and also a world champion, things are basically standard, and he understands, so you just have to just remind him. It's okay, to be fair.
Is Gary Hyde still on the scene, Asgi?
Gary Hyde?
Gary Hyde, he used to manage Mohamed. Is he still involved?
I've no idea. I don't know nothing about his background. Yesterday was my first day with him. You know, I take him as he is. He's a great, great guy. Big, you know, potential, big future. Exciting times ahead. Talking
about big futures and big potential, what about Hamza Shiraz? You'll be in the corner next week?
Absolutely. I'm excited for that. November the 30th. In Birmingham on the BT Sports Live and the Frank Warren Show. You know, this guy is 9-0, 5 knockouts. It's his time against Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly, a very good pedigree, home favourite. It's going to be an exciting fight, but for you to get up there, you've got to face the people put in front of you. And I think it'll be a good test for Hamza, and people are going to see just how good he is. Super talent, excited.
What about Shabazz Massoud? Are you still involved there, Asgi?
No, with Shabazz I took him to where I could take him to, but unfortunately, you know, the grass is always green on the other side, and outside influence will always take you a different path. It's such a shame, to be fair. Great kid, but it is what it is, so can only wish him the best.
Just to remind our listeners, Asgi's on the call. What's your social media presences, sir?
I'm on Facebook, Asgater, Instagram at Asgater, and on Twitter, Asgater.
You're obviously very closely linked with the Furies. Tell us about some of the dealings you've had with Tyson Fury, about Germany, all the underhanded stuff that went on.
Yeah, you know, when we're in Germany with the Klitschko situation, you realise that they're the kings of tricks. They've not had the reign for 10 years without doing everything that they could. The canvas was thick. We had to get the underlay taken out. The hand wrapper, we had to make him take the wraps off. Put a block under his shoe to look a bit taller. To the waters, you've got to be careful with everything. The security, that walking, that treading on your toes. Every trick they tried, but you know, thankfully we was on point.
Tyson's obviously talking about UFC. He's done a bit of wrestling. What's his future in boxing, do you think?
Listen, first things first, Tyson Fury's a boxer. End of. That's his main priority. He is concentrating on the Deontay Wilder, but while he's on a break, he's got his number one book-selling autobiography. He's got a Christmas Christmas single with Robbie Williams. He's just beat up Braun Strowman on WWE. You know, what else can this guy do? This man, you know, he's a great ambassador for mental health. There's no limits to what Tyson Fury can do. He's got a movie out with Sylvester Stallone coming out. Listen, big future.
Just finally for you, I believe you sparred Carl Froch when you were youngsters, is that right?
Oh, that was so funny. Well, I'll tell you a story about Carl Froch.
Go on.
We was basically all in the gym. 1 second, pal. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. We're live, guys.
We're live.
1 second.
Join us, boys. Hasgi's on the call, everybody. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so we was all training in the gym. Some little dudes come in, some guys, some little white dude, like, who's this skinny man coming into our gym? He goes, "Hi, is any sparring available at this gym?" And like, "Oh mate, you're gonna get battered." Proper little geeky looking guy. We thought, yeah, come on, we'll spar you. So this guy's stretching out, warming up. We thought, oh man, you're the match team. We're gonna bat. So I've gone in there first, jabbing away. I'm pinging this guy's head. Well, I thought I was hitting him, but the guy goes, "No, he was blocking with your head. He was blocking with his head." So then all of a sudden, he threw a shot. He's caught me, and the bell went. I thought, oh flipping, thank God. I thought, oh, this guy's crap. So I've sent my mate Elvis Doobie in, obviously pro boxer, over 100 fights. He's gone in there. Oh mate, this guy's battered him from pillar to post. Then my mate Dwayne Ruiz gone in. He got battered from pillar to post. Then the next person. Then the guy jumped after battering all of us and starts laughing. He goes, "Hi, my name's Carl Froch. I was a bronze Commonwealth champion. He won bronze in the Commonwealth.
Yes.
He won 6 national titles." He smirked and just laughed and walked off. And then we knew this guy's something special. And there's us underestimating this dude walking in, especially being from Nottingham and we're from Derby. The rivalry was already there. Like, oh, you're going to get battered. But he kicked the shit out of all 6 of us.
Great story, Hasgi. Thanks for taking the time to join us, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, listen, all I ask people to do is give a big shout out to Andy Shiraz. November 30th, it's going to be a great fight live on BT Sports. It's on the Frank Warren show in Birmingham. So if you can't get there, watch it live. If you can't watch it live, come down to Birmingham. Well, either way, just give Andy Shiraz all the support possible. It's going to be excellent.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, sir. All the best now.
Take care. Thanks for having me on.
Bye-bye.
Beef!
Yeah, Hasgi there. Bit of a late call.
Carl Froch battering lads like onion rings.
Escaping on a Ryanair.
Ryanair, by the way.
Didn't mean get Frotty.
What knows to what?
Oh dear. Right, let's move on then, shall we? Dilmagani, Fonseca, we saw enough of that. Yeah, sorry for coming in a bit heavy-handed there, boys. I was talking to Hasgi offline, and then I thought yous had finished, so I just came in like a battering ram, like Carl Froch into the gym, smashing you all up. Sorry, Rob, I think I might have cut you off in your prime, or maybe just slightly past your prime now, are you?
No, you actually had about 30 seconds air time, man.
Exactly, we're waiting for you. You were too busy hobnobbing with the fucking royalty there,
I was going to say, Steve, you left the pod hanging, and it was just this radio silence. So me, Andy, and
we
Rob
thought you were pushing your buttons.
Yeah, we had to pick up the pieces and mop up your mess because you were too busy schmoozing the guests.
Every week, man.
He underestimated my talk time on John John Evan as well. I was off that question very quickly.
Kickback Steve, that's what we call me. Kickback Steve.
Yeah, okay. Let us move on then, shall we? You know what? There's a lot of mediocrity over the weekend, Andy, so I'm going to have to hit you with something shit. It's just the lesser of two evils. What about Dominic Purcell, Sven Fornling? We had an interesting belly of the weekend, actually. They gave Henry Masker a Dominic Purcell pillow. We'll be coming to that later. You never know what's going on in Germany. It's quite bizarre. But Purcell got the job done. The promoter probably wanted him to win, I think, even though both of these guys were semi-prospects.
But also, Steve, as we'll also mention in Belly of the Week, that he's now a world champion, picking up the prestigious IBO title. So hopefully it doesn't do a Eubank, though. That's the only thing, Yeah, I mean, it's one of the fights that, Fornling is at level. Purcell, he's had one defeat. He's been in it again, like guys like Cooling and Murat and stuff like that, who I think I was the guy that beat him and stuff, but he's just kind of chipped away at the guy, and that's all it was. Basically broke him down, cut him up, sliced him up, and just basically it was kind of mercy stoppage. And it was a big kind of a big celebration because he's picked up the prestigious interim WBA title. So Germany's
double
got a
world champion. That's
yeah,
two world titles in my book. Yeah.
to Germany though. Christ almighty. Stephen Hertel, the guy he beat was, I think he was a Peruvian dude, whatever it was, but he was absolute dog shit. He's got like something inflated record, like 35, 40 wins with like 3 defeats and stuff like that. Every defeat's outside Peru though. That's the only thing. Mohamed Rabi, as Agde was talking about, it was for me. Ben Davison, he's trying to speak pidgin English to the kid and stuff, and he is a talent. I think he's either ex-world champ in the amateurs or ex-world silvers. He's got a bronze at Olympics, stuff like that. I mean, they didn't hand out the type of medals and that if you're not a good boxer. I would like to have asked the question. I don't suppose he'd be the right person to ask actually, as to why he's been so inactive as such, because he's only fought, as I know, 8 round fights in his career at this point. He's only fought twice this year, and his last fight was in March. What is the hold up with this kid? He's 26. He should be in the prime of his career at this point. So I want to see more for him. So that was it really for that German side. Obviously, I mean, I've seen other fights in that for like France and that as well, mate, and stuff like that. We should probably want to get to kind of slightly at one point, but. Bussell, I suppose, knocking on the door, and light heavyweight division is now on notice.
It is certainly on notice. If it wasn't on notice with Bussell, it's certainly on notice now, Rob, with Peter Manfredo Jr. returning after 3 years out, 2.5 years out of the ring. He's coming back. The pride of Providence, Rhode Island, against Melvin Russell in November. You're looking forward to Manfredo coming back, Rob, and what is your favourite Peter Manfredo moment?
Calzaghe school.
Absolutely. Fucking Calzaghe.
Yeah.
the legend killer. Fucking kiss the muscles. Joe Calzaghe. That's what the missus said about him, didn't she? Now, granted, Paper never refused thinking she was a woman scorned because he left her for the one off Strictly Come Dancing or whatever. But she said when he beat Hopkins, he was in the hotel kissing his muscles. What a prick. That's my favourite memory. It reminds me of that's my favourite Manfredo moment, because it reminds me of Calzaghe kissing his muscles.
He's glad to be back, Peter Manfredo. I'm for one.
Here, I have one for you. Seeing as it's a slow week, what do we make of this fucking announcement that PBC are going to make their own belt? No, I think this was in the plans from day one.
They said they were going to exactly. It's not completely out of the blue, because I thought they were going to do that from the off.
Give it to Tony Harrison. He's the fucking champion. He just shit all over Charlo's fucking mind. He actually went in there. Never mind. See this rent-free comment. I hate this rent-free comment. It's overused. Fucking Tony Harrison walked into that guy's head with his fucking tins of beer, set a campfire, and just said, "Fuck you, bitch."
Yeah, Charlo looks rattled, extremely rattled at the press conference, and I thought Harrison called it perfectly. He was all pumped up there on the podium. Charlo was, and Harrison was like, this guy's a fraud. Like, look at him, he's up here barking. Everything he does is for the cat. Look at him up here barking and all that. Like, he just started calling him a hoe. It was brilliant.
Yo ass, nigga, yo ass.
Yeah. And all through the time, Charlo sat beside him when he was talking, and he just turned around and addressed him, and he just looked scared or something, Charlo. Like, so I think that fight's going to go the same way as it did the first time, but I think Uncle Al might have to fix in that night. Like, I think they need Charlo back on top, don't they? They got the other Charlo in against Dennis Hogan, and this one looking for the rematch after having a tune-up fight as well in between. So
they're taking no chances with the Charlos, are they? It's sad to see. I think they need better than this.
Yeah, I think they're going to rob Harrison if he doesn't knock him out.
Lions in the camp.
Put their fucking lion head like the fucking Wizard of Oz walking to the ring. Two shitheads, the two of them. Aren't they, like, losing 40 grand in the nightclub and everything? Absolute plonkers, the two of them.
Not losing it. Stole.
Having it lifted by two. Ones that, frankly, they should have, when you saw the ones that took the money, you would think for that kind of money you'd be getting a better standard than that, like that's going to rob you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so these Charlos are out of control.
You would think so. The Charlo's been hood, street, and all that sort of stuff. That you would be wise to this type of fucking manoeuvres.
They don't get robbed by two fucking 40-year-old white women. Absolute shitheads, them Charlos. Like.
You fucking hoe ass bitch.
The PBC belt, baby. That's what it's all going to be about. You're going to have both Charlos with a version of the PBC title, so watch out.
If you hear on in, these two are called the hoe-ass bitches because the way Charlo was reacting to that, by the way, you know how he ended that press conference? You know, he says, yeah, but he still pulled out the last fight. He faked injury. That's all he could do. Fucking Harrison was fucking in his mind from start to finish, man.
And Harrison was like, if I'm scared, what am I doing here now? I didn't even have a tune-up fight for you. What are you talking about? I'm scared for, like. And then Charlo said, I'm going to pay for your funeral. I'm going to pay for your funeral. And you knew he was shook then, like. You were shook then.
Says the guy that fucking paid for Patrick. Was him that paid for Patrick Day's funeral, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolute fucking prick.
Yeah. Them Charlos could go, man. I hope Dennis Hogan beats the other one as well. Whichever one is which. I can never fucking tell which one is which.
No, I can't either. I've gone off them though. I was thinking they were going to be the future at one point, and they had some good wins. You know, one of them beat Julian Williams, the other one beat Lubin. You know, they have some good wins, but they just had shit, man. And I'm an Al Heyman, apologist.
But they had like a lot of UDs on the way up, and then when they moved up the weights and up in class, they went on around a 6-fight knockout streak each. And now they seem to be back to the same territory. So the Charlos, another chapter continues in the Charlo story.
Charlo cocaine.
Needles in the camp. Coming to you shortly on Australia, Andy. Before we do so, Aussie, Friday night, we mentioned it to Alex Steedman, who was obviously there. Rocky Fielding getting a win over Abdullah Paziwapazi, Martin Murray. Fucking whoever watched this, then you have my respect. Against, I'm not even going to bother pronouncing that. Jed Carroll, Jeff Afori, Terry Flanagan against Duran. Did you watch this, Ozzy? Did you? Liverpool?
Obviously no. I watched Rocky Marciano against Jersey Joe Walcott #1 on Friday night. If that's any help to you, mate. That's my breakdown in that fight.
We'll give Aussie one more chance and then we'll go to you in Australia. Anything from Liverpool, Aussie, Rocky Fielding?
I think Aussie's gone off the call, but it looks to it.
Oh, has he? Maybe off brushing his teeth. Good to you in Australia then, Andy. Maloney brothers, both of them got wins. One of them by retirement, the other one second round knockout. Jason with a knockout. Andrew undefeated with the retirement win.
Yeah, I think it was the Jason one that was at Dixon Flores. I think it was. It was a body shot. I've not seen any links, torrent streams kicking about for the whole card and that, so I've not seen the rest of it, to be honest with you. But I did know Andrew got the win. Some sort of interim belt again, WBA bollocks and stuff like that. So whatever that means, it doesn't mean much. It's how you get that Colin Steve for the Argentina light flyweight. Again, it's a division that's kind of like maybe under wraps and stuff like that. But Augustine Gaito knocked out Kenny Gano second round. WBO title kind of trinket fight and stuff like that. So that's kind of like mandatory defence now for WBO titles and stuff. So what else we got? Obviously that Norway card we can get to and stuff. And the French card, Michel Soro TKO 5 against Cedric Vitu, dominated him, destroyed him. Arsene Guillemarian 4-round knockout at Kane Watts cruiserweight title fight WBA, and Lewis Tootin come back with a 1-round knockout against Bruno Sandoval. So that's pretty much the kind of rundown of what I've seen this weekend. As I say, I've been more kind of hardcore as such because fights have been kind of spread out, quick stoppages and stuff like that. So yeah, I suppose it'll be on to next week now.
Good stuff, Andy. Thanks for keeping us going. Yeah, I'm having a few issues with that latest one. I'll speak to Ozzy about that off the call. Ozzy, I was trying to get you in on Liverpool. Not to worry. Rocky Fielding, Martin Murray, Terry Flanagan. Anything that caught your interest?
I won't say anything.
I'm going to get you in on this Liverpool card if it kills me. Go ahead.
Sorry, I won't say anything of remote interest. I thought Rocky Fielding's finish was absolutely tremendous against that. What's it? Pazawapati or something like that. As Alex Stevens said, Terry Flanagan looked okay, but again, wasn't really in with much. And likewise, Martin Murray as well was in with the guy with, on paper, to look at was a good record, but if you delve into it, there wasn't much there, to be honest. But look, MTK are keeping these people busy, and I think it's fair to say that they've probably kept careers going, because in reality, I think it'd be difficult, to get people like Murray, Flanagan, all these chances. Even people like Natasha Jonas as well, because when she was knocked out by that Obanov, in reality, you wouldn't be shocked if that was it for her. But I don't know. It was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. I think as Steedman said, a fight with between Liam Williams and Martin Murray would be excellent. I think that'd be really good. And I know he's got what's it called? The fight with the Roberto Garcia coming up, Liam Williams. That's going to be a world title eliminator on the Dubois card. The WBC have ordered that bizarrely. But if he comes through that, I don't see Williams getting an immediate shot. So I think somebody like Murray, who I think doesn't pose a massive threat, but his name still carries a bit of weight, can come to win, and he's boxing without any worries, things like that. So it will be certainly interesting. As for Fielding, I don't really know where he goes next. And Flanagan, I saw he wants the big names, but again, I think he's going to have to go on the road and get an opportunity, or get himself into some sort of mandatory, rather than anything else. But we'll just have to wait and see with these guys as we go into 2020.
Big heavyweight action over the weekend. Junior 4. We mentioned him before on the pod. He's from Australia, New Zealand, one of the other.
Saul Farah, how'd he got on, by the way? Saul Farah.
I'm not sure about him. I don't know. Junior 4 got to win though, Andy.
He messaged me the night he was meant to fight, actually. He said, "How you do?" I says, "Yeah, no problem. You speak English?" Podcast. They went, "There you go, back to me." So hopefully he's still alive after that fight, like, you know. So.
Yeah.
It could have been lost in translation there, Andy, because normally if you get a message off a Peruvian saying how you do, it's not really related to podcasts.
Yeah, how you do? You want some do?
Operation Tree.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we're not worried about Junior 4. I know he's been sparring Deontay Wilder in the build-up to Wilder Ortiz 2, which we will be getting onto very shortly. This is episode 349 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. Ozzy's on the call, Andy Patterson, Rob Kelly, me, Steve, I'm here as well. Rob, question for you over on patreon.com/Boxing Asylum from friend of the pod, Joe Kennedy. Shout out to Joe. Which of these 5 prospects, Rob, is number 1, the most overrated, and number 2, the most likely to be Hall of Fame? So let me name you 5 prospects and you can tell me which of these 5 is the most overrated and which is the most likely to be Hall of Fame. Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Jaron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr. or Ryan Garcia. So we've got Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Jaron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Ryan Garcia. Who's the best, who's the worst?
Was that for me, yeah?
Well, you're Rob, yep.
Oh, sorry, man. What was the question?
Fuck off.
Something about who's the best out of Ryan Garcia, Jaron Ennis. Who's the other one?
Right. This is over on patreon.com/Boxing Asylum, Rob. From friend of the pod, Joe Kennedy. Shout out to Joe. Which of these 5 prospects is number 1, the most overrated, or number 2, the most likely to be Hall of Fame? Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Jaron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr. or Ryan Garcia?
Virgil, what's the guy? I don't know much about him, Virgil Ortiz Jr. Jaron Ennis looks okay. I don't think anyone's touting him for greatness yet. He looks flashy and he has tassels on his shorts and he does a bit of moving around the ring. Oftentimes those guys don't really pan out, so I'll leave him out for the moment. Devin Haney I don't think is overrated. I just think he's in an overinflated position. I think he's a decent kid with good attributes that could be good down the line, but it's all happening a bit too early for him, and when they're fucking mailing him the belt, it kind of takes away a bit of his appeal. Garcia I think looks good from what I can see at the moment. I think he has the potential to be a good fighter, even though he is a little shit. So who's the most overrated? Fuck, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to call. They're all kind of around the same level, so not a great answer there from start to finish. Apologies, Joe.
Joe, this is what Rob Kelly thinks of your answer. You'll have to listen back, Rob. This is what Rob thinks of you.
You're a fucking bum. You're a fucking asshole.
There you go. Isn't that right, Rob?
I hope it's not you're a bum, you're a fucking asshole. I hope you fucking
You'll have to find it. Thanks, Joe. Right, let's go on to the other action from the weekend. Aussie, No, action that's coming up next weekend, Friday night. The Caesars Palace Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The Japanese Boxing Commission are sanctioning this for some strange reason. Vijender Singh going against Charles Adamu. Don't know why Charles Adamu is still fighting. Sounds a bit dangerous to me. Mohamed Wazim, Thomas Patrick Ward. Most importantly, Jack Catchall, 24-0, going in against Timo Schwarzkopf. This is keeping Catchall nice and warm for a shot at one of the big boys hopefully soon.
Yeah, bit of a peculiar location, but Jack needs to keep busy. I think there's always a concern when fighters get into this mandatory situation that they just want to sit there and wait and do nothing. Look, it's somewhat competitive. I think we know that this guy's expected to lose in reality. I mean, look, he a couple of fights ago he lost to somebody by a decision against Gift Bolo. Lost decisions to Chris Van Heerden, Anthony Yigit as well. So look, we know Catterall's expected to win, but I think he needs to look good in doing it. Whilst he's in this mandatory slot, look, I think it's against Ramirez, but Ramirez is taking on Postal, which is his first mandatory, and I think that's taking place in March, something like that. So in reality, he's only going to get a shot come June. That's if everything goes okay in the Postal fight.
Bloody hell, that's ages away, isn't it?
I know. This is what. Yeah. So I mean, Postal Ramirez is taking place in March. In turn, then. So I mean, you're looking at probably next summer at the earliest. And that's not saying that potentially another unification could come about. Then you've got 3 belts on the line, and he's waiting. So he needs to keep busy. Me personally, I would have preferred somewhat of a better opponent, but look, it gets him out for the second time this year. I mean, his opponent earlier this year wasn't up to much cop, and I think it's just a case now of getting him in, get the win, and then kickstart 2020. I think he needs to box certainly again. Before this mandatory fight, and it needs to be somebody of quality as well. I don't see a point, fighting like a journeyman in March going into a fight with Ramirez. He should try and box on the undercard of Ramirez Postal, because if he's going to fight the winner, it just helps pull up a bit of interest, things like that. But for me, it needs to be a meaningful fight. I think all too often, you can sit and you can labour to wins, and it doesn't do you any favours. I've always said that whilst he's ranked and he is the mandatory challenger, I felt that he needed 2 or 3 fights at European level. He may well be at that level, but it gives you the experience and different styles rather than jumping straight into a world title fight. So we'll wait and see. Vijender Singh Adamu, don't care. Singh's a waste of time. Heard all sorts of stories about him when he was over here training in the UK. Mohamed Wazim in against a vet. 36-10.
Have you seen that guy?
Yeah.
Look at his photo on BoxRec.
Oh God, he's 38. That's absolute bollocks. That he looks
mopping up in the prison canteen.
Hell yeah, I was gonna say he's obviously looks like he's been let out on day release or something like that, and this is like knock up a couple of fights and we'll let you out early. Bloody hell. And then Tommy Ward's on the talented fighter. I think again they're just waiting for an opportunity with him, and Rowan Date as well, who used to be who came on the podcast probably 12 months ago now. He's got he's out on the card against Justice Addy. So I mean, it's one of them. It's an experience to go and fight in Dubai. I think that's all you can say it is.
7 year ain't it?
Yeah, I'm worried, Andy, about Catchall maybe losing a bit of momentum. I know that he's been sitting around waiting for his shot, but sometimes you can sit too long. Lee the Alcoholic Froch says it'll be 2 years since he beat the quitter to become mandatory. Joke, really. It does seem like Catchall, someone as talented as him, I know that they've got their opportunity and they're waiting on it, I understand that, but maybe they could have took a different route. I know that's a bit naive to say, but I want to see guys like him fighting now while they're in their prime.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. It's I don't know if it's like poor advice or whatever and stuff, but it's he's like, I don't know how long he's been sitting on that WBO #1 spot for. To me, it's like it must be at least 2 years. It's got to be.
Couple of years, yeah.
It is. But I tell you what,
step aside money.
All right,
crying like a
it's
little
all right
bitch.
sitting in the number 1 spot, but until that mandatory is called, it's not worth anything.
So what's Jose Ramirez been doing?
Well, he fought, what's it called, didn't he? He fought Maurice Hooker in the unification.
So basically WBC title as well. So
so he was mandatory challenger for Maurice Hooker when it was called, but Hooker was called in, and then they boxed a unification fight, which takes precedence over the mandatory slot. Hooker got beat, and then Ramirez obviously has had 2 mandatories called at the same time, the WBC and the WBO, and he's opted for the Victor Postal fight first. So he's fighting Victor Postal first, and then the winner of Postal, Ramirez, then needs to fight Catterall. But like I say, this is going to be next summer at the very earliest. Imagine Ramirez breaks his hand or something like that, or likewise vice versa, Postal does it. You'll see like an interim title pulled in for the WBO or something like that, just to keep it active rather than anything else. But it's not a good situation to be in, and I think sometimes a mandatory slot can be the worst position you're in, unless it's with the IBF, because they're consistent, and at least you'll know you'll fight for one within 10 months at best. You see like others like WBA, WBO, even look Dillian White with the WBC, he was sat number 1 for ages, and then they just put Dominic Breazeale in front of him and called him as the mandatory instead. So it looks great on paper, but unless you're called as it, it's not worth anything. And I think Catterall's feeling this, and it's been seen now, and he's just got to keep plodding along with these essentially no marks until he gets his opportunity eventually.
That's the other thing as well, because I just, as Ozzy was talking, I put up the WBO rankings and stuff. So I've put just take for example the top guys. So you catch number 1, Liam Parrow, the Australian, right? I've never seen him fight. I don't think he's ever fought outside of Australia, right? So next up, I think would be Virgil Ortiz. We know Golden Boy, so we know what he's all about. You got Algieri, we know what he's all about. Barbosa seems to kind of like ring a bell on that, but he's been over the course before. The guy there called Juan Carlos Torres, the Puerto Rican, up in age, never seen him fight, never fought outside Puerto Rico. Does seem to get he's fought in Santo Domingo, whatever it was, but he's kind of like weighing waste of his kind of fighting. Another one, I suppose, would be a Uzbek Steve, would be Shojan Egarjev, but to me, it's just he's been sitting on that WBO ranking for too long, waiting for the title shot. It's just he's new victim of politics and stuff. Unless Frank, I don't know if he's still with Frank now. Whoever he's with needs to try and force a situation, but the way he's looking at the minute is, as Rosie says, summertime, maybe even this time next year, he's still waiting for a world title fight.
Someone else is waiting for big opportunities, Hughie Fury. No love in the chat from Lee the Alcoholic Frotch. Would you rather lick Hughie Fury's back up and down or watch his 10-rounder in Monaco next week? It's on the 30th of November. We'll be discussing that in great detail. A couple of fights next week. We're not going to talk about them, just a quick mention. Kermit Cintron returns. Never mind Peter Manfredo Jr. Big Kermit's coming back Saturday afternoon in Pennsylvania. Maybe Dave the Hater Lowback will go over to that one. Jack Kulkai as well, going in against undefeated Jammer Saidi for the WBO European title. Don't like them European titles, man. Absolute bullshit they are. Who's jumping in there? Rapping Rob Kelly, I can hear you breathing. Conversation imminent, Rob. Go on.
That's some dragging. He's dragging. See, listen, that's something he's hailing it.
Dragging me feet on me.
That's Lemon Crystal we've spoken tonight.
If you licked Tyson or Hughie Fury's back up and down, would that leave a sour taste in your mouth? That's who was fighting it. Took me ages to fucking unmute myself for that. The build up was better than the fucking joke, to be honest with you.
Be safe.
Right, what should we go on to next then, boys? Not many questions, but we have got a few cards of interest. Andrew Cancio defending his WBA super featherweight title against Rene Alvarado. Kanzu as well against undefeated Manny Robles III. That would be an interesting fight on the undercard, Andy. I wasn't going to talk about that, but Zoo, he's on a good run of form. Robles is undefeated and has had some good wins as well. And shout out to Cancio. He's one of us, isn't he? He's the guy who works during the day in construction or whatever it is, and he wins world titles by night.
He does. For me, Cancio, obviously, I'm talking about no Cancio, Kanzu, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ozzy maybe kind of fills in a wee bit better and stuff, but I think the way he's talking, Stevenson against Warrington unification has been discussed, right? But for me, the savage, the sadist in me, at featherweight, Warrington against Kanzu is the fight to be made for the fans. A fan-friendly fight in Leeds. I think it would do great numbers by maybe the arena, whatever it is. I'm not talking stadium fights, obviously, but I just think that is a fantastic scrap. It's just all-out war. So for me, I'm going to keep an eye on Kanzu. Cancio against Ronnie Alvaredo is Alvaredo, guys. He's been over the course before, by any chance.
They've fought before, I think, haven't they? I think Cancio already has a win over him, possibly.
Right. Yeah, so...
Shows how good the WBA is, then. A guy with 8 losses who's already lost is fighting the champion. Thank you.
Terrible, mate. Absolute terrible.
You're right, Steve. He stopped him back in 2015.
Oh, did he? Right, there you go. I knew they'd fought before.
Yeah, Brian. But just picking up on what Andy said then.
Yes.
Yeah, talks are happening with for Warrington and Stevenson. I think they're in a bit of an iffy situation here because you've got, look, Shakur Stevenson's calling you out, and he's basically saying he's willing to travel, come to Leeds, basically beat Warrington in front of his own fans. So if they then go for somebody like Kanzu, is that seen as somewhat of a duck? I'm not too sure. Look, I mean, there's ways around things. You can just say Stevenson wants too much cash, etc., things like that. But we'll need to wait and see. But I'm easy for either fight. I wouldn't be shocked to see that if Zoo beats the winner of Zoo and Robles should be upgraded to the full version of this world title. I think this is just for the regular title, which then would be a more of an acceptable fight for Warrington. But I think I don't think a decision is imminent. But I think they'll total up the numbers. I think the next fight's going to be at Ellen Road, regardless. And what I would say is if they can't get a Stevenson, which I think they will, I certainly think they'll be able to get Zoo to travel as well. Because look, with Warrington, there's money in that stadium. He packs it out. He gets 30,000 in there.
I'm going to that Zoo fight. I'm going.
Yeah. Plus
Charlie the lot.
That's a difficult fight, you know. That's like fighting Tugstop Nyambayar. That's an unknown name who's going to give Warrington hell. It'd be a very good fight on paper, but I think Zoo's tough as hell, man. He can punch too.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Listen, it's one for us. It's no one, as you say, for like a stadium fight, for example. You know, one to sell at the masses, but it's one for us. And you know, if we can do our bit to get out to the masses to say, look, listen, this fight is. This is a fantastic fight. It's no unification. It's not a well-known fight. It's not a breakout fight. It's not a name fight. But to this point, it's trench warfare.
It would be a unification though, because Santa Cruz has gone up now, hasn't he? So he'll be So that I'm sure that full version of the featherweight title will become vacant, and so they'll be upgraded. So it'd be for the IBF and WBA belts. So they could market it as that. I mean, the Stevenson fight's more marketable, isn't it? In terms of young American, hot prospect, runs his mouth, basically says he's happy to beat Warrington up in front of his home city, things like that. Both are good fights, both are good, and I know Warrington's open to either of them. He will fight anybody to get that unification fight. So it's going to be interesting. Certainly going to be interesting. I think it's a case of, like I said, look. Warrington's probably the A side in this. There's not many of these people that can go and do 30,000, 35,000 tickets
Correct.
over there.
Correct.
It's massive, that. And like I said, they'll probably make it a pay-per-view. So they've got pay-per-view money. They've got 30,000 tickets. They've got a BT cash as well. It can be a lucrative fight. And like I said, I don't blame Warrington for sitting tight and wanting people to travel because, like I said, not many people can go and do 30, 35,000, and he is one of them. And it'd be a hell of an atmosphere, and I think people would come out because if it's sold as a unification, I think people would come out for it. But no, Warrington Zoo would be a hell of a fight. It would be a tough fight as well, but I think Warrington's been written off that much now. I think he thrives on that, doesn't he? And I think if worse comes to worse, they'd fall back on if none of these fights could be made. I think they'd pull in Frampton again for a rematch personally. Which wouldn't be ideal because I think Stevenson and the Zoo fights I think they can be made personally. You're hearing plenty of positives and not so many negatives, which for early discussions is quite a rarity. Usually it's, straight away, he wants obscene money and things like that, and they're only offering us like a third of what he's asked for. But I think the talks are positive, and I wouldn't be shocked to see either Zoo or Stevenson over here next summer, which will be unbelievable.
I mentioned Tug there. He's mandatory to Gary Russell now. Lee, the Alcoholic Froch, said that's going to be Gary Russell's mandatory, so he's yearly fight, so we can expect Gary Russell defending against Tug next year, and that'll be the only time he appears. Now, I'd make Warrington the favourite now against Zoo.
Yeah, so would I. And what you can say about Russell as well is he fights once a year, and people just kind of accept that now. Because I think Russell would be a risky fight for Warrington. I think that'd be difficult, and I think he's a difficult fight for anybody. I think you can just basically get away with saying, look, he fights once a year and he's happy with that. So, and that's it, really. So, yeah, I think Russell's probably at the back of the queue in terms of unifications. So, yeah, I would agree, Steve. I would make Warrington favourite against Zoo. Not so sure about Stevenson. I think it could be a difficult one for Warrington, but at the same time as well, the camps he puts him through, I think he get the bit between his teeth, and I think personally it can be a difficult night's work for anybody.
I fell asleep.
Jason Chuckwu's woken up. He wants to know what happened on Channel 5. Dil Magani and Fonseca drew. Kanzu is the guy we're talking about fighting Josh Warrington. Jason, welcome to you. Right, Rob, let's get on to Liverpool next Saturday evening. A fight that might take your interest. Looking down the undercard, this Liverpool show. Tom Farrell, Sean Dodd, local bragging rights there. Anthony Fowler against Harry Scarf. Scarf impressed me there in that recent fight against an opponent whose name I cannot remember. Craig Glover against Chris Billam-Smith. James Tennyson, Belfast finest, against Craig Evans, which could be decent. Callum Smith in the main event, Rob, that's what you're interested in. In against John Ryder. I said last week that I felt Ryder, I hope he wins. I think he'll be competitive. It'll be a good scrap, but I think he might be a bit too small for Smith. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he's going to be up against it, Ryder, but I'm willing him to do it. I'm willing him to do it. Hope he gets the job done. Hope he can rattle Smith. I think Smith's caliber of opposition hasn't been great so far, but he's looked good in disposing guys that he should be getting rid of. But I think a lot of people are making him the favourite too easily, though, in this fight. I think Ryder's right in this fight. He was on the verge of a Eubank fight. They never heard anything back, I think, from what Ozzy was saying. So he's worked his way into this position. He's done it the hard way. A couple of losses, comebacks. We've spoke about him at length. He's been on the pod loads of times. He's a great lad. We love him to do it, and it's a real Cinderella man story, man. If he does it, you know what I mean. It's going to be one of the best stories in boxing if he can get a version of a world title. Nobody begrudge him. So I'm willing him to do it. I'm going to go completely biased on this one and root for Ryder by stoppage. But he is up against it. It's going to be a very tough night for him.
Absolutely, Callum Smith's the man. They want to win Aussie. Ryder's not being brought in to win this one. I've been completely underwhelmed by Callum Smith. It's one of the strangest careers. I don't really know what's going on in the background. I know he's changed his manager and all that type of stuff, but I'd love Ryder to do the business. But Smith, I don't want to get into Smith black hole. We've discussed this many a time, but I don't know what on earth is going on with his career, to be honest.
No, I think a lot of people see him as this, that bit of a destroyer, 26-0, 19 KOs, but I think he's always flattered to deceive of sorts. Like I said, he's had a stop-start career. Was in a similar situation to Catterall, when we were talking about it. He got into this WBC position. He never ended up boxing for that title, and he was sat on that position for ages. It was when he beat that Hadillah Mohammadi in a final eliminator for the WBC title, and then after that, he fought some Reynoso at Goodison, Norbert Nemesapati, and then Luke Blackledge, who, like I said, if you're that level, you should be wiping out opponents. And he did wipe out Luke Blackledge in emphatic fashion. But I was surprised to see him go 10 rounds because Blackledge is pretty straightforward when it comes to it. He's nothing spectacular. He then gets in the what's it called, in the Super Series. Boxed okay against Skoglund, didn't have it all his own way, and I thought Skoglund tagged him at times quite a lot. He then got a breeze with this Nicky Holscomb, but again, just didn't impress. And then he got in with George Groves in the final, and I think, look, we know Groves had shoulder injuries. and it wasn't fully recovered. And not taking anything away, because I thought the stoppage was excellent, and he saw Groves was hurt and he blasted him out of there. But in my opinion, I had it quite close going into that. I think I had it relatively even, and then he smashed out and down, which, like I said, you're disappointed if you don't drop and down. That's kind of one of the norms you get when you sign up to fight him. He goes down and he gets straight
Jack
back
in the
up.
box.
But yeah, he is. Yeah, he's a jack in the box. He's like a Weeble, isn't he? You push him over, he gets straight back up. They brought John Ryder in. I think this is a WBA mandatory, and all the talk has been about fights in the future. Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders. I'm even seeing talk of they want Sergey Kovalev to come over to fight at Anfield now. Again, that's interesting. And I don't think Smith's got long left in the sport. He's earned a fortune, absolute multi-millionaire he is now. Doesn't need to fight again. Probably just doing it just to, tick off a couple of things because he's ranked number 1. I think Ryder's in the fight. I think if he can weather an early storm, it's going to be interesting. It really is. Ryder's rejuvenated at 168. He's really grown into the weight. It's not, he's just jumping up. And it's a decent fight. And look, there is no pressure on John Ryder whatsoever. All the pressure's on Smith to look good and impress. Has to look good and impress. To be in with a shout of fighting someone like Canelo in his next fight. And like I said, I do wonder if they're overlooking him of sorts, because all this talk from all of his team is all about future major title fights at Anfield, going to America. And it's like the mandatories are breeze. And look, there's some shoddy mandatories that we've seen before over here. Kevin Bizier, Billy Joe Saunders has had a couple as well. Jojo Dan. John Ryder's not in that category, and one thing's for sure, he'll be giving it his all, and he's coming to win. Certainly up against it. It'll certainly be John's biggest test in his career, in my opinion. But he can box. We saw he gave Saunders an excellent fight down at 160 at British level. So I think, what is he, 9 or 10 to 1 to win? I think he's a better shot than a 10 to 1 shot to beat Callum Smith.
Ozzy, while you're on odds, actually, any more odds you want to throw in? Because Max Stoke always asks me every week for the odds. I usually ask Smido, and I know you're big on it. I wouldn't even know anything about odds. Any other value there's to be had on this card or anywhere else?
Let me just have a quick look now. I'll pull up Odds Checker relatively quickly. I think, is it Jason Chukwoo? What Chukwoo needs to realise on the millionaire comment is that Super Series paid an absolute fortune. Millions of pounds, particularly for the semi-final and the final. I think the final against Groves, I think the winning purse was about $7 million, $8 million. It was massive money, and they got big bonuses as well. Big bonuses. I know Jamie Cox got about $750,000 for fighting George Groves. Now, it's no shock. Cox has had one fight since, and he got beat off John, coincidentally. So yeah, they redid the strategy, and obviously weren't paying as big a wages out second time round. But yeah, that's why Callum Smith's a multi-millionaire, because in his final and semi-final, it's basically he's earned more than, he's earned a fortune. So what we're looking at, so Tom Farrell is the 2-5 favourite against Sean Dodd, who's 2-1. Interesting that. I think that's pretty much a genuine 50-50. Dodd's obviously won a British title. No, did he? Or not? Or did he? Oh no, he should have won a British against Scott Cardle, shouldn't he, and was robbed on the cards. Tom's fallen up short in his quest for a couple of major belts against Davis and Philip Bowe, so that's quite close. I think Craig Evans is a better shot than 13-2 against James Tennyson. I don't know what your thoughts are on Steve. I rate Evans. I think he's decent. And he looks good at lightweight.
I think it's
well.
Tennyson's power, isn't he? Evans will mess him about and maybe outbox him, but Tenny's got the power.
Yeah, well, I know he can take a shot, Evans, and he went over to Russia and he got beat. I forget the guy's name, but he was winning the fight, and I think it was a combination of fatigue, and he got caught square, and he took a massive shot. But I think there's a bit of value in Evans there. Again, I would have had that a lot closer, because we've seen Tennyson get beat, but Evans can box, he's decent.
Andreev.
Yeah, that was it. And he was winning the fight as well. He was beating that Andreev, and that's a difficult place to go. I mean, it's regardless, you get stopped. But look, it shows what ability he is at. But no, not particularly. I think there's good fights on the card without like a glaring screaming value. But Evans could be worth a nibble at 13-2. He can certainly box, and if you can avoid the big bombs from Tennyson, I think you can certainly beat him. And Harry Scarf, maybe. Fowler was kind of underwhelming against Brian Rose. You didn't look at him and thought, yeah, this is, like this guy's levels above. And Harry Scarf's coming off a career best win against, was it Jack Flatley?
Jack Flatley.
Jack Flatley on the VIP card. 12-1 English champion. Is Fowler all that? Will he have that motivation? You never know. I'm not going to say he could do, but again, Brian Rose certainly pinched rounds off Fowler, and there's every chance Scarf could as well, but we'll have to wait.
I think Scarf might struggle to keep Fowler off him as the fight goes on, because he's not a big puncher.
No, he's not. No. But neither was Brian Rose, and I thought Rose warmed into that fight for a guy who'd been out the ring so long. It's a difficult. I haven't seen loads of Scarf. I mean, I thought when he was selected to fight Flatley, he was basically brought in to get beat. And look, it was a massive upset. So, look, again, he's got an opportunity now to fight on Sky, go in there with no pressure on him. What an upset it would be, I think it's fair to say. But if I was to pick somebody out of the away corner on Saturday, it'd be Craig Evans at 13-2, because I like Evans. Decent boxer. Bit of power at lightweight now. I know a couple of people who sparred with him, and they said that Evans up at lightweight, his record may not suggest it, but he does have a little bit of a dig on him. Not one punch, but, just enough. So, yeah, I'd have to side with Evans on the value side if I was to pick anybody.
Stoppage?
Yeah, Max Stoke. Yeah.
No, I would probably say on points, Andy, to be honest. Like I said, he's had some tough fights as well, Craig Evans.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, that's saying though. Tennyson's been. No, I'm not going to be lured into that. Steve probably knows more about James Tennyson than I do, in terms of whether he thinks he'll get stopped. I mean, it's up at lightweight now, so I'd say Evans is certainly the bigger man.
The body's the key for Evans.
Yes. So it'd be interesting. It's a good fight. It's a great fight. Massively gone under the radar. It's an excellent fight, and one that probably could steal the show, to be honest.
I think a guy who's handled Ormond twice should beat Tennyson, in my opinion, because I was always a fan of Ormond, especially in his early days. I think I've seen him when he was 4-0. He fought in the Burns Martinez undercard actually back in the Kelvin Hall. Always impressed with his kind of output and his kind of style and stuff. So for me to, okay, they're close fights and stuff, but.
I tell you, Andy, that's a fair comment, because Ormond was fairly big at lightweight as well, and I know Evans. I think he stopped Ormond second time round. Or was it first time round?
Second one, I was there. Yeah, it was the body shots, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was at the Waterfront, I think, in Belfast.
Correct. Yeah, so it was.
The Stalker fights were pretty good for they fought 3 times, but I remember the first 2 being pretty entertaining actually.
Andy, they were unbelievable. I was ringside from both Stalker fights. They were fights of the year. They were absolutely class, because both guys couldn't really punch, and they were just teeing off on each other. I thought Stalker won the first fight, and then I had Evans winning the second fight, and they were both announced as draws. And then the third fight round, I thought Evans was a more than convincing winner. But no, Evans quietly has got a relatively decent record and has been in with some good people. Ormond's no slouch, and look, like I said, he went to Russia, and for me, he was winning the fight, and he just got caught, and I think a bit of fatigue came into it as well. So he's better than a 6.5-1 shot in this, that's for sure. I'm gonna have a nibble on that, because I think.
I'm the same. That's why I was asking. That's why I was.
No, you're right. Yeah, I think he's better than a 13-2 shot. Trains well. I think he's trained by Tony Borg, who looks after Lee Selby, so he's decent. I think Evans is better than 13-2, without a doubt. I'll put some money on that.
There you go, Aussie's recommendations. Main event for you, Andy. John Ryder. I tell you what, the pressure's all on Callum Smith, really, aren't they? not saying John hasn't got anything to lose, but he's, Smith's under pressure.
No, I was going to just say I endorse everything that Ozzy said about it. Actually, all the pressure is on Callum Smith. At this point, is he hungry enough? The millions he's got, he could easily, he's sitting up, he's fighting once a year at the best of times anyway. Joe's done pretty well by him, management-wise. If you look at his resume, though, it's, for a guy who is classified the number one in the division, he hasn't took any risks. Maybe says he's Joe Kawasaki, his time, maybe. Yeah, it's just up to John. It's really up to him how he approaches it. If he's no fazed by the occasion, the lights and stuff like that, just goes in there and does his business. Just takes care of the left hook that Smith throws, and just see the kind of early rounds and stuff like that. I could see it go the distance, but to be fair, if it goes the distance stuff, I just kind of see Smith just no getting the decision actually, because he's a herring fighter. Ryder is obviously kind of, he's been a gun for hire. He's been very impressive, career doing his own thing and stuff like that. But for me, okay, he's got himself into this position, and it's fantastic. I just hope he goes in there and takes it actually, because I would love to get him on the podcast the day after it, that he's beat a Joe Gallagher fighter and that, because it would just be absolutely amazing, and everybody would just be listening in. It would be fantastic hits for our podcast. It's just thinking purely selfishness, but I'm pulling for him. I really hope he does, because everybody knows some of the background stories. He's been shafted by certain individuals that he should have trusted, so he's getting his just rewards now, and hopefully, this big payday, he pulls it off, gets another big payday off the back end. Maybe a Canelo fight, for example. That'd be fucking amazing. Think about that, by the way. I think a few Brits would travel for that one, including us. So I'm pulling for him big time actually, because to me, it's no hate on Smith, because he is a good fighter, but to me, he's always been semi-retired. As Ozzy says, he's been sat on the WBC ranking for, 18 months before he go. He still didn't even got a title fight for that. He's got that diamond fight.
And he never ever boxed for the WBC title.
Exactly. He got a diamond title.
He beat Hadil Mohammadi in 2016, and then he first boxed for a world title against George Groves 2 years after. And then he just got this bullshit diamond belt that nobody cares about. But I don't think I'd be wrong in saying that next Saturday, I'd say the majority of people would want John Ryder to win on Saturday, because he's one of the good guys. He's done it the hard way. He was dropped by Matchroom when he who did he come unstuck against? I think it was Nick
Saunders,
Blackburn.
was it no? Was it no Saunders?
No, he was still looked after him after that. It was when he got beat off Blackwell.
Right.
They brought him back. I think they chucked him in with Sergei Kamitsky. It was the Armfield fight, sorry. It was the Armfield one that I thought he'd won, actually. And then they let him go. He went on the road, beat Adam Etches on one of the on a Eubank undercard, came back, and then was jobbed against Rocky Fielding, in my opinion. I had him beating Rocky Fielding by 2 or 3 rounds. And then again came back, destroyed Patrick Nielsen, absolutely destroyed him.
Killed him, just about waxed him.
Absolutely brilliant stoppage. Again, in the away corner against Jamie Cox, who had just been signed by Matchroom. What did he do? Iced Jamie Cox. Hearn was back on the Ryder train then, and had him headlining against that Sirotkin, which was an official eliminator. He struggled early on, but then adjusted and stopped Sirotkin. And then rather than sitting just waiting, he went abroad again against being the underdog against that Bilal Akwe. And what did he do to him? Iced him as well. So I think next Saturday I wouldn't be wrong saying that a lot of the British public will want Ryder to pull off an upset, because I think some people would say he deserves it.
Thanks, Ozzy. We have our third guest of the evening on the call, rather. Billy Nelson. How are you, Billy?
How you doing, mate? All right?
Not too bad at all. We were discussing Farouk against McGregor earlier. You were obviously there last night. What did you make of the main event?
I thought it was a great advertisement for Scottish boxing. Fantastic crowd there, and a great, just a all-round great fight.
What about the ending, the result? Do you think they're going to have a rematch some point down the line?
I think they have a rematch. you know, the very high percentage of people thought, as I did, Cash Farouk won it. I had Cash Farouk winning by three rounds plus the point deducted, so I had him winning by 4 rounds. You know, whenever it, you know, and it's only an opinion, but if, you know, I'm reading that Lee McGregor thought he won the fight clearly, well, that wasn't the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, most of the guys here had Farouk winning. Shout out to Craig Morgan as well, who got a win last night on the undercard.
Yeah, well, Craig's coming along nice. It was his first 6-rounder. I'm hoping we'll get 1 or 2 more 6-rounders and an 8-rounder, and I'd like to go for one of those, because he's only 20, maybe one of those World Youth titles. Very big ticket seller, and I rounded off a good year for my gym. We're actually undefeated in the calendar year. That was the last fight we're going to have of the year. So we've, you know, as a team, we've done particularly well this year.
Talking to the team, what about David Brophy? What's next for him?
Well, I think it could be a fight potentially with Tommy Philbin on the next MTK show in Glasgow, which, you know, would be a very good fight again for Scottish boxing for some form of title.
Yeah, that will be a good one. What about the big heavyweight Martin Bakole? What's the future looking like for Martin?
Well, I've always thought the future was bright for Martin, apart for the hiccup against Hunter, where there was circumstances to the defeat. We've got a very big fight, I'm told, by Eddie Hearn in February, and well, you know, anything can happen in this game. Martin Bakole will fight absolutely any heavyweight on this planet. People talk about it, he will do it. You know what I mean? There's no ifs, buts or maybes. He will fight anybody. I'd love to fight any of them. I've always fancied the Parker fight because I like Parker as a fighter. So, you know, if Derek Chisora doesn't want to fight Parker as he didn't want to fight Martin, we'd step in and fight Parker, no problem. New Zealand, America, UK, anywhere.
So obviously Martin's got a couple of decent wins. Whenever you signed with Matchroom, is this the vision, the pathway that you've discussed with Eddie that you're going along now?
Yep. He was very kind in giving us a fight in Newcastle, which wasn't part of the contract. Just an additional fight, and he done well in stopping Johnson. And then before we even got interviewed on the telly, he asked if we'd be interested in fighting in Manchester and Katie Taylor and Anthony Crawler's farewell fight. And Martin jumped at the chance. He says, no problem at all. Of course, I'm a fighter. I fight. So we fought 2 weeks later, and we beat a decent opponent in Hernandez in 2 rounds. He done something that a lot of good fighters hadn't done to him.
Final couple for you, Billy. What about a Michael Hunter rematch at some point down the line?
That's the fight Martin Bakole wants. Because, I mean, we can all make excuses. There's no... What happened to Martin 2 days before the fight, I wouldn't wish on anybody. Not even my worst enemy, I wouldn't wish on him. So there was a legitimate excuse for the reason why he got beat. So he's desperate for that rematch, desperate.
And finally, Deontay Wilder rematch against Luis Ortiz next weekend. Who you got winning that one?
Well, I think Ortiz has got a shout for 4 rounds, possibly. And then Wilder's youth and power should take over. But I think Wilder has got a very suspect chin. Phenomenal power, but a suspect chin, as most heavy punchers do. Most of them, you know, are phenomenal punchers, but can't take a great shot. And I think, you know, there's a few heavyweights out there now that are going to test that chin of his, because he's not the most skilled either. You know, he's a powerful guy, but he's not the most skilled fighter.
Quick one on.
Some fighters out there.
Yeah. I was just going to say, quick one on Joshua Ruiz. What do you think about the rematch there?
I think Joshua will stop him this time.
Really?
I think, you know, these big guys, getting up with these big guys is, you know, frightening. And to get to the top of the head and get concussion, well, it can happen to anybody. It happened to Joshua. It's bad luck. Anywhere else other than the top of the head, his equilibrium went. it quite possibly would have been okay. But when your equilibrium goes, your senses are scrambled, and you get caught with further big punches. It was unlucky. Fair play to Ruiz, he done what he had to do. But if Joshua keeps a clear head, and because I don't believe Ruiz can outbox him, he'll find it a lot more difficult to get past. And he was finding it difficult to get past his jab, even in the first round and a half, until when Joshua put him down.
Mm-hmm.
People were screaming for the rooftops about Ruiz's performance before then, and then and Joshua made the mistake by running in and getting cut at the top of the head. It's as simple as that. It's, you get hit, you get hurt, you get stopped. There's no excuses. There was no excuses looked for, and none that were given.
Good stuff as always, Billy. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. All the best.
All the best. See you later. Billy Nelson there on episode 349 of the podcast. Sorry about the beeping. He works in the spa on a Sunday night. That was him putting the stuff through on the checkout, Andy.
Billy Bing Bing Nelson.
Bing Bing. Right, Rob, let's get on to the main event we were talking about there. Then Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. Wilder said something interesting during the week for once. He said that his mindset is a lot stronger than Anthony Joshua's. I would agree with that.
The dog agrees with it too, man.
Joe Gallagher just talked it there, right?
Relax,
fucking
relax. I'm just up for John Ryder because he's related to me. Chill out, Joe. No, I think I'd echo what Billy's saying there. I think Ortiz is dangerous for the first 4 rounds. In terms of his mental strength, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, he's obviously had to overcome a lot, hasn't he? Like, from his background and all that. So I'd say he probably is very mentally strong, especially seeing as he's about 54 and he's still fighting. So I think he's a live dog, and I think it depends on if he catches Wilder again. I think Wilder's obviously going to be thinking that he can box smarter this time against Ortiz and stick behind the jab. He might think it's a soft touch for him, and surely think when he hits him he's going to fold him like he did the last time, which is entirely possible, and he could catch Ortiz cold and blow him out in 2 rounds, send a statement. But Ortiz, this is a fight, like, I would not have taken this fight if I was Deontay Wilder. Absolutely no need for this fight. Like, could have got another keep busy opponent. Ortiz nearly had him gone the first time, so if he makes small adjustments, he's thinking he might, all it takes is one shot. Like Nelson said, I think he is suspect. So Ortiz is definitely a live dog. I expect Wilder to win, but like, honestly, if we woke up Sunday morning, I don't know if I'd stay up and watch it, but if I woke up Sunday and I read that Ortiz was after KOing him, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, and there's that Fury fight down the Swanee. Like,
I'm thinking the opposite. I'm seeing High Guard Plodder in the chat, and I agree with him. I think this is going the way of the Stavern rematch. I'm not saying in a round, but I think they've seen exactly where Ortiz is, and his old ass is rolling down that hill against Christian Hammer. They've seen exactly what they wanted to see. Al Heyman's thinking Wilder in 4 or 5 rounds. I'm thinking Wilder in about 7 or 8 rounds. I think Ortiz gets knocked out earlier this time. Aussie, cracking undercard, Ledwan Barthelemy on it. Brandon Figueroa, Julio Ceja. Should be an interesting enough fight. Luis Neri, Emmanuel Rodriguez. It's all about the main event though, isn't it? What do you think about my projection? Luis Ortiz, he's a live dog naturally, but I'm saying Wilder by KO earlier.
Well, I was saying that I always felt that Wilder would basically evaporate him early. I was going to say inside 3. And then I saw the shape he's in, Ortiz, and he looks unbelievable. It's the best shape I've ever seen him in. So he's clearly popped everything that's on the VADA ban list. He's probably going to come in and iron out Wilder in about a round. But no...
Operation U-Tree.
People are right. He may well only have 4 rounds in him. And he could well go for it. And we've seen before, if Wilder gets caught, then he was vulnerable against Ortiz. And Ortiz just didn't have the gas tank. And then Wilder ended it in spectacular fashion. Now, I think what was Wilder last time out, he absolutely wiped out Dominic Breazeale in a round. And he had everybody talking about him again. And despite his vulnerabilities and despite his lack of boxing IQ, I still think he is a talent, and the power he's got is unrivaled, absolutely unrivaled. And if he catches you, it's lights out. And I think he's going to do exactly the same to Luis Ortiz, and it's going to be spectacular fashion. May have a couple of early, like perhaps somewhat scary moments, but I still think he'll come through with relative ease and stop Ortiz again in pretty decent fashion. So yeah, prior to seeing Ortiz and the shape he was in, I said inside 3. I'll probably now stretch it to inside 5. But yeah, I'd be amazed if Ortiz could pull off the upset now.
Yeah, I think Ortiz's shape says he's going to come out swinging and have a go, and I expect Wilder to catch him and get rid of him. Leo Santa Cruz moving up against Miguel Flores. I'm glad to see Flores actually getting a second bite to the cherry. He got injured first time round. He's a good guy. I've always liked Flores. He speaks well. He has obviously the personal story about his brother, who was a good boxer as well, passing away. He'll have to put in one hell of a performance to beat Leo Santa Cruz, though. But fair play. Good luck to Miguel Flores. I do like him. Andy, on to the main event. Interesting, it's on USA Fox Sports pay-per-view. Old Steven Espinoza and Showtime look like they could be going the same way as HBO. Fox are taking over again, man.
Yeah, I know nothing about them, to be honest, mate. There's a few fights of interest, I suppose. To be honest, I'm not really interested in the Santa Cruz fight. I knew nothing about Flores, to be honest with you. Luis Neres mentioned last week he's a cheating me shite. I actually hope Manny Rodriguez actually kind of beats him. Okay, you've got one extreme here with this fight because you see him, he beats Jason Maloney. Okay, that's a very good win actually. Beats Paul Butler. How good a win do you rate that? Because Butler's more a super flyweight. Then he gets iced off anyway, so you're like, well, fuck's sake, So I just hope and pray that what he showed against Butler and against Maloney is going to be enough to actually beat Neri, actually, because, as I says, I'm sick of this wee shite getting these opportunities, and it pissed me off big style. I think it's a world title fight off the back end of this, which would basically be, I don't know if it's in not Bill Bally. And as I say, sign me up for the Bally fight as well, but hopefully Rodriguez does them before that. Julio Ceja, was that the guy that McDonald beat?
It was. He got knocked out by Rigondo recently, didn't he? McDonald beat him in Doncaster back when he was with Hobson.
That's right, aye. That's right. That's Omar's brother he's fighting as well, eh?
Yeah.
Brandon. So, well, Neri Rodriguez is the one I'm kind of keeping an eye on. I agree with everybody saying Wilder's going to ice him, I will say within 5 rounds. Ortiz, ridiculous shape, clearly getting past in the Nevada protocols, stuff like that so far. So Wilder, he'll tee him up, probably take it easy. I would be absolutely shocked if he's got his kind of same problems that he had in the first fight, because if you look at the last 2 performances for Ortiz and that, I just think he's there to be taken, and just clearly for the payday and stuff like that as well. So I'm going to go Wilder 5 rounds.
Wow, 5 rounds. So everybody thinks then. Do you think he's going to come out swinging Ortiz then, Andy, like we do?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll just come out as he does. He'll try and box maneuver. I can see Wilder kind of like, he'll kind of back up. He'll kind of paw with that kind of left lead jab and that. He kind of like maybe try and paw the hand down and stuff. See what Ortiz has got to offer. But I can see him stepping outside that jab and throw that right hand in the middle and just shooting him. But was it the uppercut that dropped him the last time actually as well?
Do you think though, like there's a shot? Sorry, man. Do you think there's a shot like of Ortiz having been in there with him though, having a way of timing him and catching him or something? Like surely, like the train for the first time nearly came off after having been in there with him. Maybe just for the first 4 hours, like where Wilder walk onto something, because he's not that shrewd. Wilder, like he's not. There's not much set up behind his stuff. He's you know what I mean. So I don't know. It's a potential banana skin. I didn't expect him to knock him out, but like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Ortiz flattens him and fucks up the money.
Well, Ruiz did that after all, yeah.
True.
Sorry, I must have unmuted by accident there.
Oh, that's okay. Do you want to say anything about the golden contract, Ozzy, or not? O'Hara Davis, Tyrone McKenna, them boys, quickly?
The Black Quitter.
Is that next weekend?
The Black Quitter.
I think so, yeah.
That's
Tuesday, they're making the draw on Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday, right? Okay.
Right, well, so when's the 20th? Oh, it's next Friday night. Oh, that's decent. Obviously, it's all on the draw, isn't it? Who gets who? I can't remember. Did they just pick them out of the hat? Do they have seeds and unseeds?
Black Quitter.
Do the seeds
they
get
have
to pick
picks?
whoever?
Yeah, they have picks, I think, because Lee Wood chose Joyce, didn't they?
Is it done on one night? Is it 3 rounders?
No.
No, 10 rounders.
The
10 rounders.
Mm.
So they'll have 4 seeds and they pick basically whoever. So you would suspect that Davis, Mimoon, who's this Logan Yoon? Never heard of him before. It's decent. Look, it's not bad. It's a domestic tournament. If I had to pick a winner now, it'd be that Mohammed Mimoon. He's decent. We've seen him before. He took the piss out of Sam Eggington. I think he's had something. He lost to Victor Postal quite handedly last time out, but there's levels, and Postal beat anybody in this tournament. Decent contest. Again, look at the promoter, MTK again, and it's free boxing. I think it's shown on IFL. Oh no, sorry. Sky are showing this now. Sky have started picking up shows from other promoters, haven't they? Been seeing the lack of content, yeah. So it's live on Sky.
Surely no. Eddie Henley got his table to make up all these dates that he's got. What a savage.
And yeah, exactly. So look, Sky have acted on it, pulling in content from elsewhere, and it's a decent thing. It's a decent contest. If I had to pick a winner now, I'd go with the experienced Mimoon. I hope the draw's fixed and it's O'Hara Davis, Tyrone McKenna. Yeah, they've been going at it and it'll be a great fight. So yeah, should be good.
I'm going for O'Hara Davis to win that. Controversially. Right, let's get on to Belly of the Week for episode 349. I'll have to try and get that sound clip for next week. Andy's with us, Ozzy's with us, Rob Kelly's with us. Belly of the Week's everybody.
You wanker, what did you just drop in there, that sound type? You fucking dick, what did you just drop in there?
I didn't drop anything in.
Nah, right, in the background, what you've been dropping in there, these sound effects.
He's at it again.
Yeah, fucking
Guess you'll have to listen back, boys, tomorrow. You'll have to listen back.
Bean!
Bean! Rumple fucking Stillskin.
I haven't done Rumpelstiltskin tonight, actually. I must dig that one out. I've got a few new ones. So I'll have a listen back later.
Oh, well, we look forward to that.
Yeah.
I've never met a fucking Sri can fight me.
An assassin as well.
Right. Come on, Tony Harris, let's get to it. I love this time of night, this is when I get to my peak. So does Rob. He's just getting the fucking stogie smacked up with a green baby.
Oh, actually, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag because the money's not in the bank yet. But selected to do some voiceover work this week, so they said that the company in question requested me. So if it's a listener of the pod that's working in one of these places, good on you. I never said nothing bad about you. You're all good in my book.
Well, mate, listen, really, I want at least a case. You know what I'm talking about, babe? I'll promote that shit.
I'm telling you, and if you get 2 of them a year, you're laughing. So if I get another one, we'll all go to a fight. Let's hope John Ryder wins and sets up the Canelo one.
Well, I was going to say, my missus,
the Patreon.
My missus' grandfather drinks that stuff, so
yeah. All right, I'll look after you. Say nothing.
Say nothing.
I got you.
We'll never forget.
Right. Okay, dropped a few for you there, Rob. Listen back tomorrow. Episode 349 of the Belly of the Week.
Fucker.
Stop interrupting me. I say the Belly of the Week and I know where to cut it at the end of the week. Would you fuck off? Episode 349 of the Belly of the Week.
He's finally snapped.
Oh, don't bring the asbestos back up again, man. I'll never get to sleep tonight.
Can I just say two words? Oh, sorry. Can I just say a name here?
What?
Thomas Hauser.
Right, let's move on. Let's move on, indeed. First nomination for Belly of the Week is Terence Crawford talking on his Instagram stories. I'm mad as hell. This lady just sat next to me and shitted herself and got the nerves to look around like I didn't know it was her. Old musty booty ass. I'm not sure where he was. There's no context to that one.
No context, Terence Crawford.
2 slices of pizza. Oh, I should have done 2 slices of pizza. I should have ordered that for next week. Oh, man. Yeah. What else have we got here for Bellew of the Week then? Jay King has nominated Derek Chisora. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. # Sir Winston Churchill. And then a picture of Derek with a Union Jack next to Nigel Farage. He's having quite the time of it. Is old Derek.
Britannia, marmalade and jam. 5 Chinese crackers up your asshole. Bang, 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 bang.
Bean!
Greg Cross. Oh man, you lot have worn me out tonight. Greg Cross has nominated Damien. Fury is like McGregor to UFC, is bigger than the sport himself. Toby has nominated Chris. I haven't got any contacts for that, sorry, I'm just going to have to flick on past it. Brian King, has nominated Kerry Hazeltine. You really do the best interviews, Cougs, awesome as always. Eddie Hearn is losing weight, he's become a Slim Jim. Rob Harold has nominated Bruno K, who said, Anthony Joshua, you are the world champion with or without those belts. Darts legend Chris Mason has nominated Jamie. Chris Eubank would be a good fight for Canelo. Canelo would be too much for Billy Joe Saunders. Eubank wins, by the way. Andy, this is one from you here. Nordine Ubali has been trolling with the Inoue is overhyped comments. What's Nordine been on about here?
He's just saying he's overhyped. You know, it's just you know, I like the guy. He's a monster, but yeah, it's Bill to be worthy of that one. Saying that he's overhyped. Come on, baby. When yours truly says way back that he's going to be the next person to beat, like say a Gonzalez, you got to listen to me, baby. You know.
Andy dropping the knowledge. Brian King has nominated Woys and
That's
Watch.
going to get a few people raging just for me saying that, by the way. I know, I can see it. Bring it.
Woys and Watch was saying that Billy Joe Saunders and Devin Haney drew in a lot of attention according to Eddie's impressions and all that. I'm not going to get into that stuff. Trading Leather Boxing has nominated Tommy Fury, wants to fight KSI. Brian King has nominated Nav Hussein. Oh, this was a good one. Someone had a Conor Benn tattoo on the side of their body. Quite on. Why on earth they got this done?
There's a winner there.
Conor Benn, official, on his Instagram said, "Respect for the tattoo, bro. I'm sorting you out with 2 tickets for my next fight." And this guy has got Conor Benn tattooed all at the side of his chest, of his belly.
Tell you one thing. Someone got a fucking tattoo of me on their chest. The last thing I'd be doing is giving them fucking ringside access to me. I'd be fucking turn up and shoot you on your doorstep. Who's getting a tattoo of fucking Conor Benn?
9 mil.
I'll put that up on the Facebook page this week for everybody to have a look at.
Oh my god.
Jesus, suffering. Fuck.
It's quite the image. Mike Coppinger, Caleb Plant's first defence will be against Alfredo Angulo. Danny Robson says, Bellew of the Week for this fight. Fucking hell. El Perro fighting for a super middleweight title in 2020.
Yeah,
David Almond has nominated Anthony Joshua. King Doyen actually. David is accusing Anthony Joshua of getting whiter, possible skin bleaching. King Doyen, the Nigerian nightmare, jumped in and said, "This is his original complexion. Whenever AJ gets darker, you just know something is wrong, like the other time he was in the US." So, whenever AJ gets stressed, according to King Doyen, the Nigerian nightmare, his skin gets darker. So there, if AJ is under pressure.
He's not the Hulk, man. Relax, he's not the Hulk. For fuck's sake.
There's some weirdos out there, man. Friggin' hell. Lions in the Camp was one of many people to nominate Tom Sharman. Tom Sharman. Props to Eddie Hearn for backing himself. I've always been a casual fan of boxing, but all this KSI, Logan Paul drama has really got me back into it and obsessed with the sport more than ever. You backed your beliefs, and I hope others do the same. Different gravy. Tom Sharman follows more people than he has followers. He has a blue tick, and he calls himself an influencer. So I think that maybe Tom has been brought in here, Rob. You know what I'm suggesting? Trying to influence us?
He doesn't have any influence over me. He's talking shite. Fuck him.
Tom Sharman, frontrunner for me. Greg Cross has nominated the McGregor Farouk commentary, Barry Jones specifically, and the robbery, complete joke. Andy has nominated Chino, Marcus Maidana, returning in April 2020 at cruiserweight.
cruiserweight.
What? The cruiserweight?
Yeah, that's confirmed, baby. So he's going to be fighting. He's going to return on the April 18th, I think, against former kickboxing champion Jorge Acerio Cali in a battle scheduled for 6 rounds in the cruiserweight division. It will be held at the area of Puerto Madero, very close to Casa Rosado and Buenos Aires. Ooh!
Acerio sounds like something he's going to say about his performance.
Can I just say something, by the way? I am certain he is still tied with PBC, but he was talking about this fight in ESPN as well. ESPN's is Deportee or something, no, Deportee or whatever it's called. So this fight's going to be carried by somebody like so the guy who basically owned Broner at was it welterweight or light welter is going to return at cruiserweight. At cruiserweight.
He must have ate all that Floyd money, did he? Like, he must have ate every single penny of that Floyd money because he got his retirement fund with the rematch. Like, pissed off into the sunset. Everyone's happy with him. He's down shooting pigs in Argentina, getting fat as a fool, and now he's back at cruiserweight. Well, you know, Kelly Pavlik was talking about coming back at cruiserweight as well, so maybe they can have a match down the line in 2020. Don't rule it out.
How bizarre would that be, Kelly Pavlik? Kelly Pavlik fighting Marcus Madonna.
You wanted Chino to have that good ending, like you wanted him to fucking just, not have to fucking come back and fight. We don't want to see him at, like, I love Chino, like, absolute goonie, but this is not it, like, it's not the move, is it?
No, don't do it, Chino. Andy has nominated the German press for stating that Dominic Bussell is a world champion. Lewis Greenslade joined us, Andy, said there was a belter post-fight.
Yes.
Henry Masker was at ringside, and there he revealed Henry Masker was presented with a new pillow with Dominic Bussell's face on it because Bussell had slept with a Henry Masker pillow as a kid. You'll have to get one of them Henry Masker pillows, Andy. It might be worth more than a GBO title.
And the worst thing is the current world champion because he picked up the interim WBA and the IBO world titles. He's a world champion, but this pillow, the pictures there that we've seen, Henry Maske, good fighter back in the day, by the way, solid fighter, but it was just weird. Got handed a pillow by the heir elect, shall we say? Fucking hell, but definitely well up there for Belly of the Week this week.
That was a strange one. Strong week. There's Dominic Bussell and Henry Masker. Right up there. Conor Benn as well. Tattoo is a good one. Ozzy, any nominations from you?
Negative, and I think the winner is glaringly obvious this week.
Glaringly obvious. Maybe Ozzy's thinking about Terence Crawford sitting next to shitty ass Booty. Rob, any nominations?
I've got loads. Come on, Rob.
Whoever made that card, that kind of like match attacks like card with Tommy Fury and Baturbiev on it, saying who's better, Baturbiev or Tommy Fury. So it's a razor thin one, that one. That was pretty good.
I didn't see that one. Go on then, Andy. I believe you have a string of nominations for us.
Well, Eddie Hearn getting absolutely fucking iced this week off none other than Mr. Beyond Reproach Integrity, Mr. Thomas Hauser. Absolutely.
All praises due to Hauser.
Yeah. Hauser, praise be to Allah, the King Buddha, Jesus Christ our Lord. You keep giving stuff.
Fucking skin.
Hopefully there's works in the background that we do get this python of integrity of boxing journalism on our podcast. Because this guy is going to lay waste to Eddie Hearn's career in America. Woo! Eddie Hearn's now facing possible ban and license revocation in Las Vegas by Mr. What's his name again? Vinny and the guys do pretty well with him.
Bob Bennett.
Bob Bennett. Bob Bennett. I wish Kenny Keefe was on the podcast so he could get me do his wee spiel here, but Bob Bennett's just going to own Eddie Hearn's ass. He's going to bend them over. Eddie, how do you like it? Do you like it raw? Do you like it a wee bit of lube? Do you want me to put a tip in, Eddie? Eddie, how you doing, Eddie?
I'd love to believe you, Andy, but Eddie Hearn, man, you could have a frigging building burned down and he'd be sitting down there like frigging Queen Daenerys in Game of Thrones with no clothes on. This guy, you couldn't get rid of him, Andy.
Swing around in his chair like greenbacks.
You could not give him a redneck, but you couldn't give him a redneck with a blowtorch. He's a fucking pure redneck bastard. Eddie Hearn's biggest hope at the minute is that that the commission overturn the ban on Chavez, right? Because he's fucked. He's in breach of the Ali Act. It's federal fucking law. So yeah, it's looking fantastic. Fantastic. I'm going to put up Marquez. Juan Manuel Marquez. That's one of my most favourite Mexican fighters. Was saying that after the Kovalev one, I still have Canelo as pound for pound number 3. Well, even a bit better there actually by Marquez. Actually, in my opinion. Another one I want to lay in, and I guess Rob was going to do better than me by mentioning this one, but Tony Harrison. We spoke about earlier on the show. He just, as we mentioned, just crawled inside Jermell Charlo's head and just laid waste to the kid. Went in my fucking food blender, mixed him up badly, just destroyed him. And okay, it was a close fight. It was edgy and all that sort of stuff. But for me, going into this, Harrison doesn't give a fuck. He's just going in and does his own thing, and to me, that Charlo is one on his own edge. And to be honest, I've never sat with YouTube videos in the past and that actually, well, for a while, watched them thinking, yeah, they're pretty good in that. But this was different for me anyway. It was just, just fucking Harrison just dogged his arse, man. Just fucking, he was on him constantly, and Charlo just could not cope. He just, he got into his head so much that even his trainer lost. His trainer's trying to talk to Charlo. Charlo's like, "Fuck you, dude! I'm talking to him," and he's lost. He just couldn't get back to him. And to me, that is a guy who's going to come out in this fucking fight early doors, hoping to lay waste. If he doesn't lay waste to him, could come up fucking short. By the way, and I'm looking. Hang on, 2 days before Christmas. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Do you think Harrison's annoyed him that much that he's going to throw more than 4 punches around?
Oh, what, man? I can see him actually failing a drugs test because he's that fucking,
adrenaline's too high.
Listen,
he's just displaying complete petulance, though, isn't he? Like, he's just like a petulant kid. Like,
that's the thing, though, mate. Because to me, see if that fight was like, that press conference. See if that was the final press conference like 2 days before the fight. Charlo was losing that. To me, without doubt, he is so emotionally invested and fucking, he's out there. He is gone, but he's got time.
And it was like when his tough guy act didn't work, he folded, like, didn't it? It was like he folded because he got up and he backed and he was like, "You pull out the fight. You pull out the fight. I'm doing it." And the man was like, "Listen to him backing," like, and he just folded, like he couldn't cope with it whatsoever. Like, so it's definitely after making the fight more interesting than that. Like.
Any more, Andy?
That's me, Steve. Sorry, mate.
No, you're okay, no problem at all. Right, I'm going to go for the guy who had Conor Benn tattooed on his chest. Like I said, facebook.com/Boxing Asylum. Rob, I'll put it up during the week. You'll be able to look at it in all its glory and decide, because you made a lot of assumptions tonight, decide whether or not you would get one done, because you haven't seen it yet.
Steve,
just hold off. You haven't seen it yet. Alright? Facebook.
Yeah. Even if it was Nigel Benn and it was on your chest, I'd be like, he was a good fighter, man. I don't have to go that far and like, get a tattoo of him. But Conor Benn, which moment has he got? Has he got it when he got revenge for getting the shit beaten out of him by that kickboxer? Is that when? Is it straight after that fight? Has he got that on his chest?
Let's
That's
have
a special moment. Like,
he's got his gloves up. He's heavily. You know what? It's well drawn. I mean, it's not a real like a shit one. It's well drawn. He's looking off into the distance, and he eyes a WBA interim title. I think that's what he's looking at.
Oh my God, that's fucking. That could be one of the year. Like, that's up in the best venues of the year. Like, you don't like Conor Benn. Somewhere mad now with somebody with a Josh Kelly tattoo that was going to get it done his range, and now like, fuck, you beat me to it.
Go on, then who are you going for, Rob? Conor?
Has to be that guy.
No, your man. It doesn't say who it is, but yeah, he's got a pair of Adidas trunks on and a little belly. So there we go. That's 2 for the Conor Benn tattoo. Ozzy, go ahead.
Yeah, this punk who's got Conor Benn tattooed on him, absolutely absurd.
Conor Benn. It's 3 for Conor, Andy. Looks like you could be making it a clean sweep.
No, I'm going to go something different actually. Yeah, absolutely. I've got to go Thomas Hauser again. Just coming out of the bastion of truth against Eddie Hearn. Eddie's just a prick, And one of these days, he's oh, did I make that obvious? Sorry. One of these days, he's going to
say what you think, man.
Yeah, I'm going to say what
we
want
to be honest.
Prick, right? He's lied to mates who've lied to his faces and stuff like that as well, right? His dad licensed a man who was blind in one eye. Eddie Hearn is licensed drugs cheats. He has spoken fervently about drugs cheats in the past, who, lose my number, i.e. Jarrell Miller, but he's happy to put on, people in the past who failed drugs fucking tests, right? So, just to see Thomas Hauser, a respected journalist, a respected investigative journalist, by the way, beyond, in my opinion, beyond reproach, right, calling you out, keeping to facts. Now, I'm sick and tired of people when they mention this guy talking about, he's a PPC shell, paid shell, and all that sort of stuff. No, he's not. He's not, right? Just, we can put that shit to bed. Eddie Hearn's come in here, with the big money, talking shit, and look at the mess. We can break it down if you want. The mess that he has made of that American adventure with fails drug chests, fucking fake, new opponents, Joshua getting iced, and all that sort of stuff. The shitty cards that he's put on in America as well. Right, let's not forget about that. It resembles like Saturday Night Fighting on fucking regular Sky, for fuck's sake, right? So, to me, Eddie Hearn deserves a belly of the week because he's on the verge of losing his fucking promotional license in one of the biggest paying areas of the American boxing market. So, yeah, Eddie Hearn for me, without question.
Andy makes a strong case, even though 3 went for Conor Benn. I like that, Andy. Coming in late there. Still,
thank you.
Going for the Conor Benn tattoo. Going for the Conor Benn tattoo, but you did make a good argument.
Fucking casuals.
Well done, Eddie.
Crying like a little bitch.
Right, let us finish up for the evening then. Episode 349 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. The time's flying. As Rapping Rob Kelly said during the week, we are fast closing in on episode 350. Seems like yesterday we were just hitting the 300 mark. Soon be on to episode 400. Maybe I'll retire at 400. Who knows? Thanks for coming on, Rob.
You've got never,
Kelly.
you bitch, you yeah.
I might retire at episode 400.
Steve,
Kelly's been on.
Steve, I'll give you my picture of money if you do that, mate.
Trying to do a Kazagi. The lazy killer Wellings.
Step down while I'm still ahead. Not many muscles.
Well, if you're not getting out of it, like you're not. What you thinking with that one? Like that's not happening. You're in it to the date, Wellings. Blood out on the asylum. You know the rules.
400 not out, baby. Come on, think about it.
I'm waiting for the boxing voice to call, man. I might go over there.
Yeah, it's a boxing rant now. It's the boxing rant, not the boxing voice.
I've been on the boxing rant before. Been on a couple of times. I don't want to get involved in this, but I was watching a T Street controversy video last night, and I've heard people mention this LDBC before, but I did not know what was going on over in American boxing. This is absolutely fucking bonkers, man. This Fred or whatever you call him from the barbershop. Go and watch T Street controversy's video because we're finishing now. Very interesting. Lasts for a long time. Stick it on 2-speed and see what T Street has to say about the whole thing. I wasn't aware of this stuff that was going on. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I'm not going anywhere. Rapping Rob Kelly, thank you for coming on. Ozzy Smith, thank you for coming on. Andy Patterson. We had Billy Nelson, Alex Steedman, and somebody in between, Asgi as well. Thank you for all those guys. Everybody in the chat. Max Stoke, good to see you. Jason Chuck, who's woken up, back to sleep again now. Lee the Alcoholic Frotch. I've been Steve Wellings. For now, thank you and goodbye. See you next week. Bye.